Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Hamilton Southeastern Football on Audio Sports Online. The 2012 regular season will come to a close this evening as the Royals will take on the Mavericks from McCutcheon to close out the 2012 regular season. Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say, everybody. Brian Scott alongside Doug Edens as we close out this regular season before opening up sectional play next week as the Royals have drawn the Lafayette Jefferson Broncos. So for Hamilton Southeastern, they're going to have a game up here in Lafayette tonight, and then they're going to turn right back around and come back here to Lafayette on next Friday night when they take on the Broncos of Lafayette Jefferson. Hamilton Southeastern with a record of 6-2 on the season. They're coming off of a win last week as they sent the Harrison Raiders to their 8th loss of the season against 0 victories, as it was Hamilton Southeastern winning that game by the score of 51-13. The Royals jumped out to a 17-0 lead in the first quarter, and it was 38-0 at the half. The game was so far along that in the second half they just simply used a running clock in that game as Hamilton Southeastern came away with a big win. Ross Risley in that game, he only attempted 6 passes, completed 3 of them for only 12 yards. Really didn't need to, as Hunter Hardy got the bulk of the rushes last week. He ran for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. Xavier Smith got some work at the fullback position, 11 carries for 55 yards, and Ross Risley also ran for 1 touchdown. Tyler Janney also got into the game late, and he managed to score from 8 yards out, the 5th Hamilton Southeastern touchdown. So Hamilton Southeastern 6-2. The Hoosier Crossroads Conference, well, that's been decided. It was decided last week when the Brownsburg Bulldogs knocked off the Zionsville Eagles by the score of 14-0. And I'm going to bring Doug Edens in. Doug, it's been a long time since I can remember that we're in the final week of the regular season, and the Hoosier Crossroads Conference title is not up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, last year there was a 3-way tie for first place between the Royals, Avon, and Brownsburg. And this last Friday, of course, was the first time, I believe, that Brownsburg's won it outright, so since joining it. And you're absolutely right. But, you know, that's what happens when you when your schedule is all conference.
When it is
you have that risk.
And for Hamilton Southeastern, there might be a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas. Of course, the Royals, with only 2 losses on the season, you go back to that season opener against Avon. That went down to the final seconds. It was Niles Edwards for Avon kicking a field goal, a 25-yard field goal, just about as time has expired to give Avon the win, sending the Royals to their first loss of the season. And really, if you look at the Hamilton Southeastern's record this year, only 1 true loss, and that was at Brownsburg when the Bulldogs handled them rather easily by the score of 42-14. What's happened since then? Well, Hamilton Southeastern's averaging almost 40 points a game in their previous 5 wins coming into tonight. 51 points last week, 31 against Noblesville, and 41 against Westfield. And for the most part, defense has played pretty well.
Yeah. The Royals have, of course, they lost their premier back before the season started, I believe, during practice.
Demetrius Crockham.
Yeah. And I was really kind of looking forward to watching him run. And, of course, Ryan Ripp, when we were there at Avon, did not participate. And but when I did see him play against in the doubleheader at Lucas Oil, he was very impressive, and he has been very, very impressive when he has been given the room. Again, like you mentioned, though, he was held pretty well in check by Brownsburg. They, of course, being the undisputed conference champion.
Ryan Ripp, though, will not play tonight. He did not play last week in the victory against Harrison, and Coach Scott May says he will not play tonight, so we can again expect a lot of action from Hunter Hardy from the tailback position. Xavier Smith will be working in at fullback, and we'll see how things go here for the Royals as they get ready for sectional play last night. They're taking on the McCutcheon Mavericks. Mavericks come in with a record of 1-7. It's been a season of heartbreak and tragedy here at McCutcheon. It started early in the season, 4 days before the season started. when the wife of the principal here at McCutcheon passed away rather suddenly. She was also the mother of the starting wide receiver for McCutcheon, and she was, as they call it, a football mom. She's been with the program ever since. Her son Jack Beaker is a senior, so she had been around, and that was the start of the Mavericks season. They tried to come back and actually push their opening game of the season against Brownsburg back a day to have the services on Friday. And they started off well as the kick returner for the Mavericks, Nate Deno. We're going to see a lot of him today. He returned the opening kickoff over 90 yards for the touchdown, but it kind of went downhill from there as Brownsburg went on to win that game by the score of 36-9. The Mavericks, you can expect a lot of running. Nate Deno is their tailback, and he will do a good bit of the ball handling. They will line him up as a tailback. They'll move him into the slot. At times he's ran kicks back. You will also see a lot of Lane Beeler at fullback. And, of course, the quarterback is a senior in a 6'3", 195-pound Matt Marincic. Both teams are at the middle of the field now as we get the call. Hamilton Southeastern has won the toss. They will go ahead and receive as the Mavericks will be kicking off. So a beautiful fall evening here in Lafayette, Indiana. And after what is undoubtedly, in my memory, the rainiest football season I can remember here in Indiana, cold, wet conditions, very windy last week. Tonight it is middle of October here in Indiana. Temperatures currently about mid-50s. And as that sun goes down, we expect it to get a little colder. By the time this contest ends, it'll probably be in the upper 40s. By the time we get done, but very little wind, if any. The flag to our left just hanging there, so no wind. Beautiful fall night for football and a good way to end the regular season.
We'll be taking a look at the halftime at recapping last Friday night's action, and we'll also take a look at the sectional lineup for the other schools in the Hoosier Crossroads conference, and take a look at those particular opponents, and going to be talking about some other things, too.
We're going to be talking about a whole lot of things as this day goes, as we get ready for sectional play next week. And, of course, the draw has been made. The Royals will start with the Broncos of Lafayette Jefferson. And as I mentioned, a game here up in Lafayette tonight, and they'll have to turn right back around and come back here Friday. And some of the things we'll talk about at halftime is that fair or not? So make sure you tune in around halftime. Royals get ready to receive the kick. Back deep, Taylor Christensen and Chris Ford as putting a foot into it and taking it at the 6 is Christensen. He will go to the 25, still running to the 35, to the 40, and finally brought down. Tackle made by McCutcheon's Jake Shake, the kicker. And the Royals will start with excellent field position at around the 40-yard line. Nothing fancy there, just kind of weaved his way through the kick coverage.
Well, the Mavericks actually did a good job kind of finally closing him before he could break it. So they did a pretty good job on that.
Ross Risley, the senior quarterback, is on for the Royals as they will work out of the eye. And it'll be a quick swing pass out to the far side. This is Cameron Polk to the 40, to the 30, and he will be still going. Nobody's blown a whistle. Now they do, as they'll say Cameron went out of bounds inside the 30 at around the 28-yard line. Quick hitter on just a little swing pass out to the flat, and Cameron does the rest into Maverick territory.
Nice play on first down, and I don't think it was anything that the Mavericks weren't expecting, but they did catch up to him and held him to that particular yardage.
Risley drops the snap, tries to take it over the right side. He'll find a yard or two before he is brought down by Matt Muncie. He is the Mavericks' leading tackler. It'll be a short game. Let's quickly give you the starting lineups. For the Hamilton Southeastern Royals, the offensive line, Peter Gorga, Michael Shue, Tyler Klink, Boyd Warner, and Zach Schuler. The tight end is Alex Showalter. The wideouts, Cameron Polk and Kyle Schrenk. Ryan Ford will be the fullback. Hunter Hardy, the tailback, and the senior Ross Risley is the quarterback, as the Royals have what will be a second down and about 9 yards to go with the ball spotted at around the 27. And now we are going to have a timeout called by Hamilton Southeastern. So head coach Scott May, and he's met his offense, as you can see right there at about the 35-yard line. Not overly happy with whatever package he saw come out to take this 2nd down and 9, so he's going to talk to them a little bit.
Well, I wonder if he was still a little smarting over that bobbled snap, and sometimes that's where you get your quarterback hurt, trying to retrieve that, and all those bodies going after it.
Well, while we have a moment, let's give you the Mavericks defense. They'll run a 4-3. The defensive lines, Cody Walker, Nick Mack, Derek Delancey, and C.J. Yagi. The linebackers are Lucas Robinson, Caleb Harper, and their leading tackler is an outside linebacker in Matt Muncy. The corners, Alex Nicholson and Cole Taylor, and the safeties are Shannon Harris and Kyle Brewer. 2nd down and 9. Here is Hardy finding some room around the left side, still going inside the 25, or the 20, inside the 15. And Hardy will be in the red zone inside the 14, close to the 13-yard line, 1st and 10 Royals.
Well, that was just a nice sweep toss over to the left, and very, very good blocking at the point of attack. And, again, the Mavericks a little bit outmanned on that side. We'll see what they can do the rest of the night.
Kyle Schrank will line up as a wide receiver to the left, and Cameron Polk is slot left. They will bring Ford in motion, but they will give straight up the middle, as that is going to be, I believe, Taylor Christensen. And Taylor's not going to find a whole lot of yards. Actually, that looks like Tyler Janney at running back. We'll see. Yeah. But evidently that was Tyler in there at tailback. He'll get 1 carry and then head to the sideline. Only gains a couple of yards on that play. It'll bring 2nd down and 8. This time we've got Ford and Hardy, offset eye to the left. And it'll be Hardy with the ball. He'll get some room over left tackle. He'll pick up 5-6 yards before the bulk of the Maverick defense can stop him. And they'll stop him at about the 5-yard line. But that brings up 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, another tossed sweep to the left side, to the short side, and kind of cut it back nice. And that's one thing McCutcheon's going to have to look for, are those cutbacks, because with their speed, you can't afford to go one way and then be going the other.
They'll spot the ball just at the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2 as the Royals can get a 1st down without getting a touchdown. Schrank is the wide out to the near side as they will bring the tight end Showalter to the right. Here's the pitch. It's Hardy over right tackle and into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, Hunter Hardy and the Royals waste no time marching down the field in 6 plays. And Hardy will take it in from about 3 or 5 yards out, and he will score the Royals touchdown. And again, nothing too fancy, just a little toss. Get around the outside tackle as Connor Dahlke is on for the point after. Dahlke's kick is up, and the kick is good. 9 minutes and 20 seconds remain in quarter number 1, and the Royals strike first. They lead the Mavericks by the score of 7-0. You are watching Hamilton Southeastern football on Audio Sports Online. Alongside me is Doug Edens. My name's Brian Scott. Glad you could join us tonight for Royals football on ASO. Is good start to this football game for the Royals as they take 6 plays to go 60 yards. They do so in just over 2 minutes, and they lead 7-0.
Well, it was a very economical drive, I guess. 10 plays a pop, essentially, 60 yards in 6 plays, and very, very good-looking drive, except for the snafu on the bobbled snap.
And even on that, of course, the Royals, no negative yards, no 0 yards. They still managed to gain a yard or two as Resley picked up the fumbled snap and managed to get over the right side. So no negative plays on any of the plays. And for the Royals, just an easy march down the field as they will now be kicking off. Back deep, looks like it'll be Nate Deno and Kyle Brewer. Deno has a kickoff return for a touchdown. Actually, that is Blake Elming and Kyle Brewer. As Dahlke is ready to kick this one away. Puts a right foot into it, and he will kick it deep, and that'll go into the end zone for a touchback.
Automatic 1st and 10 at the 20.
Good strong kick by Connor Dahlke, and of course he has been a weapon for Hamilton Southeastern this entire season. And his kickoff into the end zone will have the Mavericks starting 1st and 10, down 7-0 with 9:28 in this first quarter. Matt Marensik is the quarterback for the Mavericks, the 6'3", 195-pound senior. They will run a lot of I sets, and they will run the ball quite frequently as Marensik will play action pass, drops back and eludes one man, rolls out to his right, now fires over to the sideline, and making a nice play is Josh Costin on the far sideline. Marensik had to shake a few defenders. Jordan May was after him, and he managed to get out of the 6'3", 225-pound defensive tackle's grasp and complete the pass up the sideline.
Yeah, that was a good play by Matt, and shaking him off like that, because I thought he had him. And I think that might have caught Hamilton Southeastern off a little bit, expecting them to run.
They will line up once again with three wideouts, with two of them to the near side. As the give is to the fullback, and he will go straight forward. That is Lane Beeler. He'll run into a host of white-clad Royal defenders, and that's going to bring up third down and short for the Mavericks. Ted Maxey, the nose guard, with the tackle.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about making some noise for Puccini's Pizza?
Marensik gets the signs from the sideline. He heads over to the huddle, and they will break the huddle for this third down and short, as it is Costin who made that grab. He's lined up to the near side. High backfield behind Marensik, and Marensik gives to the fullback, and breaking through is Beeler, and he will get into the secondary and finally be brought down by Grant Hanna, but it's a first down for the Mavericks.
Well, it was some nice blocking on that side of the line. Very, very good blocking on the point of attack, and he just found the crease and went with it. Very, very good play. First down for McCutcheon.
Let's give you the starting lineup for the Mavericks. The offensive line, Kyle McGee, Blake McCorkle, Colin Post, Tanner Flynn, and James Schumacher. The tight end is Matt Muncy. The wideouts, Jack Beaker and Josh Costin. The fullback is Lane Beeler. The tailback, Nate Deno. And the quarterback is Matt Marensik, as the Mavericks have first and 10. Marensik back to pass, fires over to the right side, and good defensive play over there by Grant Hanna as he pokes the ball away from Josh Costin.
Nice play by Hanna on that particular play. Little sideline route, and made a good play on the ball.
Defensively for the Royals, of course, a 3-4, Jimmy McCarthy, Chet Maxey, Jordan May as the defensive line. Linebackers, leading tackler is Dylan Wilcher playing the weak side linebacker. Ryan Clements and Jocko Alexa are the inside linebackers. Taylor McDougal is the strong side. Grant Hanna and Dakota Thomas are the corners, and Zach Rietzig and Taylor Christensen are the safeties. As on 2nd and 10, firing downfield is Marensik, and we wait. They say the catch is good as he gets it over to the far sideline. And that looks like, I believe, that was Blake Elming with the catch. So the Mavericks have moved into Royals territory at the 48-yard line. Well, they'll have it 1st and 10. We didn't see a lot. I was at the game, I should say, between McCutcheon and Avon last week. Of course, the conditions were a lot different as far as the weather. Didn't see a lot of throwing by McCutcheon, but they're throwing the ball now. Here is Deno. Looks for some room around the left side, and he will pick up about 2 yards down to about the 46-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Well, he kind of sidestepped the lineman who had broken through and kind of made something out of nothing. So it was a good play by Nate Deno. Of course, we've read about him in past accounts being one of their leading ball carriers and also one of their leading scorers.
You will see Deno will frequently line up as tailback, but they will also shift him into a slot, which is where he is going right now, off to the right. That is Deno, that is slot right. As the Mavericks play action pass, Marensik throws over the right side and getting a big ball up there to knock it down for Hamilton Southeastern. As the pass was intended for Lane Beeler, knocking it down for Hamilton Southeastern was Jimmy McCarthy. The big defensive tackle, 6'5", 250-pound junior up there to get a ball up there and knock that one down. And that'll bring up third down and 8 yards to go for the Mavericks. Once again, Deno will line up slot right as they put 2 wide receivers to the right. Here it is on an end around as Deno on the sweep looks for some room and nothing doing, as the first one there to greet him was Taylor McDougal. And Deno's going to lose yardage on that play, and it'll bring up fourth down.
Ryan Clements, the sophomore, was also there as well, number 58.
The Royals looked like they were smelling that one out. They saw Deno start to make that move into the backfield, and the defense just kind of flowed with him, and they were able to drop him for a 3-yard loss. The Shake is back to punt. Zach Rietzig and Taylor Christensen are deep for the Mavericks, or for the Royals. This is Rietzig at the 17. Tries to elude a man, but won't get much farther than that. Looks like coming in to help make the tackle was Jordan Wicks. So the Mavericks, they get a few first downs. They march into Royal territory, but that's going to about do it, as they'll have to punt the ball away, and the Royals will have it 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line, leading 7-0 with 6 minutes and 3 seconds left to go in this first quarter.
Kobe Miller was also in there for McCutcheon, and it was very, very good coverage on that particular punt. The punt didn't outrun the coverage, as is normally the case. Very, very good play for McCutcheon.
Royals are starting with 4 wide receivers. They'll set up the screen as Cameron Polk is going to have it, but very, very good defensive play by the McCutcheon Mavericks, as Caleb Harper, among others, was there. They must have scouted that one out because they were ready for that play.
Well, they saw that on the first drive, too. And fool me once, that kind of thing, you know.
It's a loss of 2 on the play, back to just inside the 21-yard line. 2nd down and about 12 yards to go, as Polk and Chris Ford will come out as wideouts to the near side. Hunter Hardy, the lone back, as Risley will bend under center. He'll drop back, fire it out to the left. Pass is complete, as he will send it out to the far side, as Austin Hogan, the tight end, will make the catch. It'll be a pickup of about 4 or 5 on the play, as the ball will be spotted just beyond the 30-yard line. That'll make it 3rd down and a long 2. So the Royals will come up to the line of scrimmage. They lead by 7, under 5 minutes left to go first quarter. Mavericks show blitz. They back out of it. Here's Hardy. Gets around left tackle, and he will have the first down up past the 35 and close to about the 37-yard line. Pickup of about 5 and first down.
Well, I hate to jinx anyone, but we haven't had a flag yet. And I thought I saw a move on the Royals' left side, but apparently nobody else did. Or maybe I was just seeing things.
Started looking for things after the rain and all of last week. So it's 1st and 10 for Hamilton Southeastern. The ball is spotted on their own 38-yard line. And they will go wing right and bring Ford in motion. He will take the ball, and he runs around the left side up to the 40. And now as Doug speaks, flag flies.
It looks like it might have been a horse collar on the defender who pulled him down. It was a good play. Alex Nicholson, the junior corner, came up and brought him down.
But they're going to get the Royals for a holding, as they brought Chris Ford in motion. They ran the sweep to the near side, and again, Nicholson there to make a nice play, but this one's going to be marched back because our first penalty of the football game goes against Hamilton Southeastern.
Now, I'm so glad I'm not out there in stripes. I called that wrong.
So back up the Royals as they'll march it back. And they'll spot the ball. Nose of the football touching the 30-yard line. That's going to make it first down and 18 yards to go for the Royals. Schrank will go to the far side. Cameron Polk will join him as a single back set with Risley under center. Looks over 4-man front, drops back on the delay, gives to Hardy. Hardy goes right up the middle, and he will pick up about 5-6 yards on the play before he is brought down, tackled by Caleb Harper, a 5'11", 190-pound junior.
Well, I'll tell you what, McCutcheon is playing very, very well, warding off the blocks, getting off their blocks, staying in their lanes, and pursuing. That's an excellent example of it right there.
2nd down, 13 for the Hamilton Southeastern Royals. Schrank and Polk lined up to your left as Risley drops back to pass. Fires downfield, has Polk at the 40, to the 30, to the 20, and Cameron Polk is going to take it all the way for the touchdown. A 65-yard touchdown pass from Ross Risley to Cameron Polk. Well, that's a connection that we have seen this season.
Yep.
A big, quick strike for Ross Risley. That is his 9th touchdown pass of the season.
About 40 yards in the air and hit him right in stride, just like you draw it up.
Cameron Polk, that is his 6th touchdown. And Connor Dahlke on for the point after. That kick is up, and the kick is good. 3 minutes, 43 seconds remain in quarter number 1. Hamilton Southeastern now out in front by the score of 14-0. You're watching Royal Football on Audio Sports Online. My name's Brian Scott. Joining me this evening is Doug Edens, and we've seen this before with the Royals this season, and they seem to make a habit, that big, quick strike ability. This time it's Risley to Polk for 65 yards.
Oh, my, that game at downtown Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium, that was a clinic. They just took Zionsville to the woodshed, literally.
And it was big plays.
Absolutely.
Throughout that football game.
Yep, on both sides, really, but mostly from the Royals.
As we look back on that game at Lucas Oil Stadium, many people were surprised to see the Royals just totally throttle Zionsville, and you really can't say Zionsville didn't play a bad game, but the big play capability of the Royals offense was in full display that night, and much like this play with a 65-yard pitch and catch from Ross Risley to Cameron Polk, and as Doug mentioned, the throw from Risley, that's one of the best throws you're going to see this season from Ross, is he hit Cameron in stride, and it was an easy 6. Dahlke's a sideliner. They will flip it, and this time they will give to Elming. Elming will get some room, and he'll get it out the side the 30. Deno was the player that initially picked up the ball, and we've seen this from the Mavericks several times this season. They like to do that reverse on the kick return, and this time they get some nice yardage out to the 33-yard line.
Taylor McDougal made a good play on that for the Royals, starting middle linebacker.
So the Mavericks' second drive of the football game comes at 3:35 in the first quarter, but they find themselves down now 14-0 as Morensic play action pass gets pressure from the backside, but eludes it. Now he has running room to the 40, and he will be taken out at about the 43-yard line. Coming in and about ready to make the tackle was Zach Rietzug, but coming out of nowhere was Josh Costin to block Rietzug and give Morensic another few yards.
I apologize. McDougal is an outside backer, but on that particular play, the Mavericks missed getting called for a penalty, or it was a very, very smart play, because it could have been a nice shot right out of bounds there on the play.
So it'll be 1st and 10 as they will send Beeler in motion as a wing. They'll give to Deno, but the play will be whistled dead as flags fly, and this will be the first penalty against McCutcheon on an illegal procedure.
Procedure indication against the Mavericks.
Didn't see the movement, but it is a 5-yard penalty.
First down.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
So it could be an illegal formation. Either way, it'll be 1st and 15 as they'll march the ball back to the 39-yard line with 3:27 left to go in this first quarter. Royals up 14-0. Play clock winding down as it's at 9 seconds as the Mavericks get to the line of scrimmage. As Morensic will take the snap, play action pass. He'll roll to the right. Holding is going to be the call as Morensic is going to be finally flattened down at about the 31-yard line. There was a definite hold, but I believe the Royals are going to take this play because it's a huge loss back to the 31.
Yeah. That's what you get sometimes when you have a scrambling quarterback, and of course he was before he was keeping plays alive, but on this particular play it looked like he was just running for his life.
Royals got some good pressure from Josh Lee, and nothing the Mavericks could do but try to hold Lee to keep them from squashing Morensic, and in the end the coverage was good downfield, and the penalty will be declined. And that's going to make it 2nd down and a good half acre to go as the ball will be spotted on the 31-yard line.
Yeah, I think they have to get to Ross Aid before they get a first down, don't they?
Ball, yeah, they'll have to get to the Royal 47-yard line to pick up a first down. So it's second down and about 23 yards to go. I backfield behind Morensic as the Royals show blitz. And here they come, but they'll give it to Beeler right up the middle, who just can't quite get by the blitz. As the Royals were able to get a hand on him to slow him down. It'll be a pickup of about 4 or 5 yards, but expecting the blitz, they sent the fullback right up the middle.
Well, that was a nice push, actually, by the Mavericks on that particular play. It just, when you've got a whole lot more yards than 4 or 5 to go, it's tough to maintain it.
So this will be it's going to be third down. They'll have about 17 yards to go. The ball spotted on the 35-yard line. 2:37 left to go in the first quarter. Play clock down to 3. Morensic gets it off, drops back to pass. Looks, fires over the middle, finds Costin, but it's right in and out of his hands.
Oh, you got to make that catch. I mean, he was wide open. He had split 2 defenders, and
Costin had a step on Dakota Thomas, and he had defensive help coming in over the top, so I doubt if he would have been able to get the first down, but they would have possibly been able to pin the Royals back a little deeper in their own territory. As it's now, Jake Shake is going to punt, and he is going to set up at his own 21-yard line as Rietzig and Christensen will set up at their own 32. Shake gets this one away. Nice kick, high kick. Christensen takes it at the 32. Looks for some room, and once again, excellent kick coverage by the McCutcheon Mavericks. Taylor would know where to go with it, and he'll gain maybe a yard on the return, but that is all, and the Royals will start 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line. Already up 14-0. They've had 2 drives in this football game, and it's resulted in 2 touchdowns. So they will huddle around head coach Scott May over on the sideline, and we'll see what they will elect to do. And, of course, one of the things we'll look to see in this game, should it start to get a little out of hand, if Coach May starts to try to get some of his starters out, get them ready for Lafayette Jefferson next week. So 1st and 10, they've spotted the ball at the 35-yard line. And 2:18 left to go first quarter.
Now they're moving it back to the 30.
So evidently there was a penalty, or did not see a flag, but the way they're moving it back, that's a 15-yarder. So can only say maybe an illegal or some type of personal foul, so they're going to start this at the 20. It's definitely a 15-yard penalty. So Risley out of the eye, he will go to Cameron Polk, who had lined up as a tailback, and Cameron can't quite get his feet out from under him, and he's going to lose a couple of yards as he falls down. They'll make it 2nd down and 11.
That needs to be on the highlight reel.
Actually, it's going to be a 2-yard loss, let's say back to the 18. So 2nd down and 12 for the Royals. Clock under 2 minutes left to go in this opening quarter. Polk will now line up to the near side with Chris Ford. As Risley bends under center. Risley, quick hitter to Polk. Polk is going to go down after just a couple of yards. And once again, Caleb Harper from his middle linebacker position, a 5'11", 190-pound junior, comes in and makes a fine play for the Mavericks.
Well, that's one thing that McCutcheon has been doing thus far, and that is tackling well, tackling in space. And that's a very, very good play by Harper on that particular scenario.
Polk will pick up 3 yards, but will make it 3rd down and 8 yards to go for the Royals. As the clock continues to march here in the first quarter, we're about ready to hit the 1-minute mark. Risley back to pass. Looks, fires, has a man. That's Schrank to the 30, to the 35. And finally, Harper will bring him down at about the 38-yard line, but Kyle Schrank was all alone with plenty of green grass in front of him.
Yeah, there wasn't anybody over there. It looks like it was a coverage mistake by the Mavericks on that particular play. But, you know, the Royals, even with injuries, still have so many weapons. It's tough to cover them all.
And we've seen Scott Mays put a few different people back there behind Risley as a running back. But right now, Hunter Hardy is the lone tailback as Risley looks. And now not everybody quite in sync for the Royals as few of the offensive linemen get a little bit of a head start, so it's going to cost Hamilton Southeastern 5 yards.
I think that's why coaches nowadays shave their heads so they don't let people see all the gray that's coming in. Do penalties like that.
A lot less painful than ripping it out.
Yeah.
It'll be 1st and 15 for Hamilton Southeastern. 30 seconds remain in this first quarter. The Royals will have to, of course, run a play. 2 wideouts to the near side as Risley drops the pass, fires over to the flat, and the pass is incomplete. Hit Alex Showalter, but Showalter can't hold on to it, and that's going to bring up third down. Or excuse me, third down for Hamilton Southeastern.
Caleb Harper again on the stop, made a very, very good play. He was covering the tight end in that particular scenario and did a good job.
That's actually second down. Of course, the penalty that dropped him back. So second down and about 15 yards to go as the Royals will pitch. This is Hardy over the left side. He'll find some running room to the 40 and up past the 45-yard line for the final play of this first quarter as Hardy with about 10 yards on the play up to the 45-yard line. And that's going to be the final play here of this first quarter. Hamilton Southeastern leads McCutcheon by the score of 14-0. They'll flip ends and get this game back underway in just a moment. You're watching Hamilton Southeastern football on Audio Sports Online. My name's Brian Scott. Joining me is Doug Edens. Make sure you stick around for halftime because normally you probably hear a lot of dead air. Not going to hear that tonight as Doug and I will be talking about, or actually Doug will be doing a lot of the talking. He will take us around the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, tell you what happened last week, what is happening tonight, and then what's going to happen as sectionals begin this week. The tournament draw was held last Sunday. The Hamilton Southeastern Royals will be turning around and coming back up here to Lafayette. They will take on Lafayette Jefferson in their first game of sectional number 4. And, about the only thing we can say about sectional number 4, we could have a very interesting sectional semifinal game. We'll talk more about that at halftime. Make sure you keep it tuned here on ASO. So the Royals will have a third down and 4 as they flip ends. Ball spotted at the Royal 45-yard line. High backfield behind Risley. He looks over a 4-man front, looks to swing it out, fires over, has Chris Ford. They go high, no penalty flag, which was rather surprising. It looked like he got brought down rather high, but no penalty flag. And for the first time tonight, Hamilton Southeastern is going to have to punt the football.
I'll tell you what, Caleb Harper looked very, very eerily like Night Train Lane of the Lions years ago. He used to do that all the time, and that's why they outlawed it in the National Football League.
Dalkey to punt as Brewer and Elming are back deep, and dropping the football on the return was Brewer. And the Hamilton Southeastern Royals have recovered.
Well, that's the last thing you want to do for McCutcheon. If you're a Maverick fan, you forced them to punt, and then you give the ball up on a muff. That's just that can break your heart.
And I believe it was Hunter Hardy that actually recovered that muffed punt. So the Mavericks, for the first time, were able to hold the Royals, made them punt the ball, but they give it right back on the muff punt, and the Royals have it 1st and 10 from the Maverick 27-yard line, up 14-0. Risley rolls to the right, looks for downfield, still looking, fires, has Cameron Bulk down inside the 10, and it'll be 1st and goal for Hamilton Southeastern at the 9.
Well, that's what you want to do. You have a turnover like that. You try to strike quickly, go downfield, go as horizontal as you can, and it was a good play, good throw and catch, and that area was actually, I thought, covered pretty well, but made the play.
They'll give Polk an extra yard down to the 8. It'll be first and goal for Hamilton Southeastern at the 8-yard line of the Mavericks. 11:26 remaining in the first half. Royals up 14-0. I backfield. Risley gives to Hardy. Hardy looks for room around the right side. And Hunter Hardy will go into the end zone from 8 yards out for the touchdown.
That was a nice play off tackle, and that's what you want to do as far as striking while the iron's hot, I guess, if you want to use that kind of parlance. Good job by the Royals. You take advantage of it when you have it.
So Hamilton Southeastern turns the muff punt into 7 as Dahlke is on for the point after. As Hardy runs it in from 8 yards out. Dahlke's kick is up, and the point after is good. 11:15 left to go in this second quarter. Hamilton Southeastern extends their lead. They lead McCutcheon by the score of 21-0. This is Hamilton Southeastern football on Audio Sports Online. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the action of Royals football this season and you want to relive it, pretty simple. Just go to Audio Sports Online. We'll have an archive of the entire football season all ready to go. It's available totally free of charge as an on-demand podcast. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's all courtesy of Audio Sports Online. Don't forget, basketball season's coming up. Perfect time of the year here. And if you are a sports fan, high school football sectionals are underway or will be underway next week. Major League Baseball playoffs. College football conference games have begun. NFL is in full gear. National Basketball Association, they have begun exhibition games. And beginning tonight, if you are a college basketball fan, it is Midnight Madness. So everybody around central Indiana, of course, in Indianapolis, Brad Stevens, Butler Bulldogs. Down in Bloomington, Tom Crean's Indiana Hoosiers. And right here in West Lafayette, the Matt Painter's Purdue Boilermakers. Midnight Madness gets underway tonight. Dahlke to kick off. Short kick. It'll be taken by an up man at the 20 to the 25, and then finally brought down right there as looked like it was Cole Gerard, I believe, that the up back that took it, and he's going to be brought down about where he took the ball, just beyond the 25-yard line, and the Mavericks now find themselves trailing by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, not a good sign. Last week it was 34-0, so they're riding 5+ quarters of scoreless ball. They have to do something about it right here.
Mavericks have moved the ball a little bit, but those drives have stalled. As Morenzik on a bit of a counter play gives it to Lane Beeler. Beeler finds no room whatsoever. He might gain a half yard at best before he is brought down, as a host of Royals were in there. Among those, I believe, was Jimmy McCarthy. Gain of a yard, we'll call it 2nd down and 9 for the Mavericks. 10:41 left to go in this first half. Royals up 21-0. Wide receivers to the left and the right. I backfield behind Morenzik. He'll drop the pass, and he will go over the middle trying to find Kyle Brewer, and it goes right through his hands, incomplete. Brewer had lined up as a tight end, just ran the seam and couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, just kind of hit him in a bad place. Yeah, you've got to catch those throws because that was right to him. It was perfectly thrown. It was chest high, and just a kind of a tough break.
Brewer got a nice release. He chipped off of the linebacker and was wide open in the middle of the field. He would have had a nice 10, 15-yard gain, but got to hold on to the football. That is Lane Beeler going in motion wing left, and this play just had problems all from the get-go as it stopped, and the illegal procedure will go against the Mavericks. So what was 3rd and 9 is now going to be 3rd and 14 as they'll march the ball back near the 21-yard line. Actually, they'll spot it at the 22. Once again, the Mavericks are going to find themselves in a 3rd down and long. As Costin will be the wide out to the near side. Nate Deno will line up as a wide out to the far side. Royals show blitz, and They will give to Deno on a reverse. A halfback pass looking for Costin, and the pass is incomplete.
Deno's pass intended for Costin.
Taylor Christensen was beat by a few steps. Deno, if he doesn't have too much arm on that and hits Costin in stride, it's a big gainer for the Mavericks, but it falls incomplete.
Yeah, it really would have been. I think that they caught the Royals off guard a little bit on that particular play. It was a nice end-around throw, and it just came up a little bit off on the mark.
Taylor Christensen, Zach Rietzig back deep for the Jake Shake punt as they'll stand at about their own 47-yard line. Shake gets this one away. Nice high kick. Drops Rietzig back, and Rietzig muffs it. And there is a scrum at the bottom. The Mavericks had a chance, and they have the football. So turnabout is fair play as Rietzig came up. He muffs it, and there on the bottom of the pile is Caleb Harper to recover the football for the Mavericks.
Well, it was nice special teams play by McCutcheon, and they came up with the ball. It was a very, very poor decision on Rietzig's part, backpedaling like that. He should have gotten out of the way totally because it probably wouldn't have bounced that badly for the Royals. As it is, though, the Mavericks have a chance to put one on the board right here.
Well, that gets the Mavericks faithful making some noise. They've been rather quiet. And now the Mavericks 1st and 10 from the Royal 37 as getting the football and being dropped after a 3-yard loss, I believe, was Deno. And he was run down by a host of Royal defenders for a loss of 3.
Well, usually on a draw play like that, you can catch some people napping, but they didn't that time. The Royals stayed in their lanes and played that very, very well. Good play.
Coming in, I believe, and making the play was Chet Maxey for Hamilton Southeastern. Nose guard came through right up the middle and was able to get Deno in the backfield. 2nd down and 12 yards to go as back to pass is Morensic. He will fire down the field, has Costin at the 25, and now they will call it incomplete. So Costin looked like he had a pass. The ball came out, and the officials say Costin didn't have it long enough for a reception, and the Royals might have dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah, I think you're right. He was right there in excellent position. Caught the ball only where he could catch it, and just didn't come up with it or didn't control it long enough for it to be a catch.
So what would have been 1st and 10 inside the 25 is now 3rd and long as Morensic back to pass. Fires near side and not on the same page with Nate Deno. Deno had cut off his route, and Morensic had expected him to take it up the sideline. So that's going to bring up 3rd down and long. And it looks like the Mavericks from this field position are going to elect to punt the ball and try to pin the Royals back deep. So Rietzig and Christensen will stand back at their own 10-yard line. Jake Shake will stand back at his own 47-yard line. And this one not going anywhere as the Mavericks move before the snap, and that'll pin them back. We watched Jake Shake last week. Jake's got a good leg, and this 5 yards shouldn't affect him too much. As a matter of fact, Royals just aren't even going to budge from the 10-yard line. So it'll cost the Mavericks 5, but it might give Shake a little bit more room. 9:19 left to go in this first half. Royals are up 21-0 as Shake will come in on a nice high punt. Rietzig fair catch at the 12 as the Royals will now be pinned back, as this is the farthest back they will have had to start a drive in this football game. But they currently hold a 3-touchdown lead over the Mavericks with 9:12 left to go in this first half of play.
Well, you know, like you said before the game, very, very tragic season for McCutcheon. A lot of very, very strong things to deal with. Very tough for kids, tough on kids. And, you know, hopefully they'll have some things to look for positively out of this particular game.
1st and 10, ball is at the 13-yard line. as Risley back to pass, fires out into the flat. Pass is complete. I believe that is Kyle Schrank. And Schrank's going to be stood up as the Mavericks defenders are able to get to him.
It looked to me like they read that very, very well and closed in very quickly.
It's going to be a pickup of about 4 yards on the play. We'll call it about 2nd down and 6 for the Royals with the ball at the 17-yard line. Clock showing 8:42 in this first half. 42 remaining, I should say, as the Royals send 2 wideouts to the near side. High backfield behind Risley. Risley will give it to Hardy. Hardy will go right up the middle. He's going to be slowed down briefly by Nick Mack before the Mavericks are able to bring him down, but Hunter's still able to get some good yardage to bring up a 3rd and short.
Well, you know, he's a steady runner, but he just doesn't have the speed that Ryan Ripp does. So hopefully for the Royals, he'll be back Friday when tournament time comes.
Schrank to the far side. Ford and Polk to the near side. Mavericks show blitz. Give is to Ryan Ford, I believe, and Ford's going to take it beyond the 25 up close to the 26-yard line, and the Royals will have a 1st and 10.
Well, nothing, as you mentioned before, very fancy about that. You just follow your blockers.
Actually, it was Ross Risley that kept it, the quarterback. He just came right over his center, 5'10", 230-pound junior Tyler Klink. And Ross, no slouch himself, 6'4", 183, able to get more than enough yards to pick up the 1st down for Hamilton Southeastern as they'll spot this at the 26-yard line. They will bring it on the end around. It's coming around the near side and eluding one tackle but not another as Matt Muncie is finally around to bring the ball carrier down. That was Jacob Wright. So Jacob Wright came around from his slot position, took the pitch, and he ran a whole lot of yards to get nothing as the ball remains at the 36-yard line. Risley will bring Polk into motion, fakes the handoff, now gives it to Hardy right up the middle, and Hardy will pick up about 3 or 4 yards before Lucas Robinson can bring him down. And now we've got some extracurricular activity downfield, which is going to draw a flag. Cameron Polk among those involved, a couple of McCutcheon players, and we'll let the officials figure this one out. As downfield, it's like Polk and a Maverick rolling around on the ground, and we'll see if they give flags against each team. Dead ball foul, personal foul against Hamilton Southeastern and against McCutcheon. So offsetting penalties, the down will stay at 2nd down.
Penalties offset.
But now they're actually marking the ball back.
I think what they're doing nowadays is like when they want
they mark it off and they bring it back.
When they want a batter to be walked, you know, instead of just sending him to first base.
Well, the pros might have this one right. Either that or the umpire needs some exercise, one of the two.
That could be.
When all is said and done, it's still 2nd down and 8 for Hamilton Southeastern, as they moved it 15 yards back, 15 yards forward, and we're back where we started with 2nd down and 8. Risley back to pass, pump fake, looks downfield, has a man wide open. That's Polk, and that's 6.
Wow.
Polk had beaten the defender by a large amount, as Alex Nickerson nowhere close.
Yeah. It looked like
But have we got a penalty?
Yeah, there's one in the backfield.
Royals are all moving back to their side of the field, so this one is going to be against Hamilton Southeastern.
That'll negate that touchdown.
It's a hold against the Royals, and the double whammy, a hold and an ineligible man downfield. And a sideline warning, so. Well, if you're going to get them, you might as well get them by the bunch, and the Royals sure did on that one. A hold and ineligible downfield and a sideline warning to boot. And what was originally what we thought a 62-yard touchdown pass to Cameron Polk is going to actually push the Royals back quite a bit. And we'll still be second down, but we're going to be back a little bit.
Also, sideline warning against the Royals.
So
now I have to ask you, is that against the coach, or is that against one of his staff, or the players, or?
I think that's a team. It's not quite like the coach where you get two of them. And we'll see how much walking this umpire gets in when we finish this. And here's 15 yards. And that's where they'll spot it at the 23-yard line. So wipe off the 62-yard touchdown pass, mark the Royals back to the 23-yard line, and they now have second and about 24 yards to go. 3 wide outs to the right. Now Polk will switch with Austin Hogan as Risley drops back to pass. Plenty of time, fires it downfield, looking for Cameron, and Cameron climbs the ladder, brings it down. And what was a second down and 23 becomes a 1st and 10 at the Maverick 38.
Well, I'll tell you, that was just pretty. That's just how you draw it up. And he split defenders and just did a great job coming down with that one. Excellent play.
And once again, credit that offensive line of the Hamilton Southeastern Royals, because they gave Ross Risley all sorts of time. Mavericks came in with some late pressure, but by then Risley had planted his feet and fired down to Cameron, and Cameron goes up, brings it down, and it's 1st and 10 at the Maverick 38-yard line. 6:00 is on the clock here in the first half. Here's Polk coming around the near side. Eludes one tackle, now reverses field. He will cut it up to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, and a saving tackle is going to be made at about the 25-yard line. I believe it might be Alex Nickerson.
Yeah.
Number 24, Shannon Harris.
Actually, Shannon Harris was the Maverick that was able to trip up Cameron Polk. Cameron came near side, got bottled up, but managed to elude the Mavericks, reverses field, and he'll take it all the way down to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 Royals.
Yeah, that's one of those real highlight film plays. Just an excellent reversal of field, and it juked some players and cut back, made a great game.
Here's Hunter Hardy. He finds room over the left side to the 15 and down near the 10-yard line before he is dragged down. As once again, Matt Muncy there to bring him down, but not before Hunter picks up about 8 yards on the play down the 12-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 2. Well, for Hunter, it's been pretty simple. You were either going off of your left tackle or your right tackle, and Hunter's been finding some good yardage there. 2nd and 2. Here's Hunter. He'll do the same play, but this time he is going to roll into the end zone for the touchdown from 12 yards out.
Well, I think that this was good for the Royals to overcome a couple of penalties like that, and coach settling his kids down, warning whoever was on the sideline to keep their mouths shut. And they went ahead and converted anyway.
It was pretty easy for Hunter Hardy as he ran over the left side, had to fight to get into the end zone as he did a bit of a spin move at the goal line as Dalkey's point after is up. And for the 4th time, Connor Dalkey puts it through, and with 4:52 left to go in the first half, the Royals extend their lead to 28-0. You're watching Hamilton Southeastern football on Audio Sports Online. My name's Brian Scott. Alongside me is Doug Eden. Stay around for halftime. We'll be talking about what's been happening in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, give a little bit of a look and some thoughts about sectional play. That's coming up at halftime, which is in 4 minutes and 52 seconds on the game clock. And the Royals up 28-0. Deno will drop back for the Mavericks, as he will be joined back there by Blake Elmy. Connor Dalkey will tee it up at the 40-yard line.
on that particular play. And very, very good coverage by them. And
Julius Hardy was in there to make that play.
You know, it's been a while since the Royals defense has really shackled anyone. But again, it depends on Coach May and the people that he'll substitute, I'm sure.
So McCutcheon will be 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line. Morensic is back to pass. Good protection, but nowhere to throw the ball, and Morensic will take off to the 30, and he'll be pushed out of bounds by Taylor Christensen at around the 34, 33-yard line. So good job by Matt Morensic. Better job by the Royals secondary as nobody to throw the ball to. The lane opened up, and Morensic got what he could, which was 6 yards. And they're going to push the ball at the 33-yard line, saying that was where Christensen pushed him out. So it'll be 2nd down, and let's say about 4 yards to go. High backfield behind the quarterback, Morensic, but he will drop back to pass. Pressure comes. He eludes it, and he will throw it out. There was a player over here on the near side. That was Josh Costin. Grant Hanna was the only one that had a chance at the play, and Morensic wisely and able to get rid of that ball before he took a big sack.
Yeah, it was kind of like a jailbreak on the pursuit for Hamilton Southeastern. Looked like they stunned it a little bit and were able to get off the blocks that the Mavericks put on them earlier. First time really that he's kind of had to, well, maybe the second or third time he's had to really run for his life.
3rd down and 4. The give is to Deno, and he will be swallowed up. Or actually Blake Elming, my apologies. But he is going to be swallowed up as coming in to make the play was Dylan Wilcher, the leading tackler for Hamilton Southeastern. Jimmy McCarthy also in there as well. It's a loss of about 3, and Shake will be back to punt once again as Christensen and Ford will stand back at their own 35 for Hamilton Southeastern. 3:53 left to go in the first half. Royals up by the score of 28-0. Shake gets this one away. Another good high kick, and they'll let this one bounce. It'll take a backwards bounce, and Mavericks will have to down that, and they will do so at the 44-yard line, and that's where Hamilton Southeastern will take over 1st and 10 from their own 44, up 28-0 with 3:38 left to go in this second quarter.
One of those occasions where the Royals will actually have excellent field position before they'd started back inside, almost inside their own red zone.
Shake, as I've said, has been a good punter, and you can see that the Mavericks' kick coverage is one of the reasons why they've been fairly good in this game is Shake gets some height to his punts. That allows the coverage to come down. Tyler Janney is now into the football game as the ball came loose, but it looks like it is Hunter Hardy.
He just exploded. Just excellent blocking at the point of attack, and he just took advantage of it in that speed. Not breakaway. The Mavericks were able to corral him finally, but a good play by Hunter Hardy.
So Hardy breaks off a big one. He'll take it all the way down to the 23-yard line, and Royals now have it 1st and 10 as Tyler Janney again in at quarterback for the Royals. And Janney will once again give it to Hardy. Hardy will break through the first line of defense and break through the second line, and finally has to be brought down in the defensive secondary, but not before a gain of about 8.
Well, he just kind of ducked under some players. The blocking was kind of stood up right there at the point of attack, and that was mostly him on that particular run.
So it'll be 2nd down and 1 as the ball is spotted at about the 14-yard line. The clock moves down to 2 minutes left to go in this first half. Janney, play action pass, rolls, fires, passes complete. That looks like it is Ryan Ford with the catch. Ford will have it at around the 10-yard line.
Another first down, though.
It is another first down. We'll see if it's first and goal or first and 10. Looks like the nose of the football is on the 10-yard line, so it will be first and goal for Hamilton Southeastern with the ball spotted right at the 10-yard line. Minute 44 as the give is to Hardy. Hardy around the right side, and he'll take it to about the 6-yard line.
Well, that was excellent ball handling by Tyler Janney on that previous play. It wasn't much of a completion, but it was enough for a first down. So I'd say Ross Risley has a pretty competent backup at this point.
Second down and goal for the Royals. High backfield behind Janney. Janney, a 5'11", 180-pound sophomore. Give is to Hardy. Hardy weaves his way, but he's going to be brought down to a knee just inside the 5-yard line. That'll bring up third and goal for the Royals.
Now here's where, McCutcheon has to make a stop right here. They have to have something positive to end this first half on.
Clock is under a minute, 47 seconds left to go in this first half. Royals again up 28-0. They'll bring a man in motion. That is Schrank. Here's a give to Hardy. Hardy looking for some room around the left side, and from just about 4 yards out, Hunter Hardy is into the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, that was just kind of a nice roll to the left. Again, pretty good blocking. It looks like the Royals' offensive line is beginning to really assert itself on these last 3 drives at least. Excellent pass protection and also point of attack kind of drive blocks. Just superb offensive line play, and I think the defensive line, they're also figuring things out with McCutcheon as well. So
Hunter Hardy, that is his 4th rushing touchdown of the game. Dalkey on for his 5th point after, and as is the case with the other 4, it is good. And with 34.5 seconds remaining in this first half, the Royals way out in front. They lead this game by the score of 35-0.
Of course, the half will be looking at what happened last week in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. We'll also be taking a look at the sectional draws too for all the schools. I know that Brian has mentioned before that the Royals will be packing it back up this way next Friday night to play Lafayette Jeff. And they were, of course, easier to find than McCutcheon, at least for me. See, I don't have one of those newfangled things that tells me which way to turn.
Tells you which way to turn.
Turn right, turn left. Don't have it just yet. Still in the 20th century, I guess.
Well, it might have been a little more difficult to find, but McCutcheon, with a nice facility up here.
Oh, absolutely. It's beautiful out here.
I'd like to thank everybody here. They've always done a very fantastic job, very hospitable. As Dalkey kicks this one off, and once again, he kicks it short. It'll be muffed once again, but it'll finally go out of bounds as one player that looked like coming over here on the near side, R.J. Blair, muffed it. Coming in to get it was Ross Wichman. And now the officials are going to talk about this one. Don't know what the referee saw from the far sideline, but now they're going to wave the flag off, whatever flag they thought it might have been. It was touched by a Maverick, then went out of bounds, though nobody controlled it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they obviously it looks like they thought they saw that the ball just went out of bounds on its own, which would have drawn a flag.
It was definitely touched by a Maverick, so they'll spot the nose of the football on the 20-yard line, and with 31.7 seconds left, we'll see what Coach Ken Frauhiger likes to do here. He's got 3 timeouts in his pocket with 31.7 seconds left. Morensic, though, will hand off, and they'll just run this ball right up the middle as Blake Elming will take it, and he'll be brought down as the clock continues to run. gain of about 5 yards on the play, or 4 yards. They'll spot it just shy, or just on the 34, but that's going to do it as Coach Brawhigger says, let's take it to the locker room as the offense, and Matt Morensic especially, he was hoping he could run another play, but Coach Brawhigger says, let's take it to the locker room, let's see if we can make some adjustments, and that is exactly what they'll do. We've played a half of football here at McCutcheon, and the Hamilton Southeastern Royals lead this contest by the score of 35-0. Well, now it's my pleasure to bring in the often imitated, never duplicated. Here's Mr. Doug Edens with our halftime report.
Imitated, huh? I have to figure out what that means. All right, well, welcome, everybody. This is Doug Edens reporting halftime here at Hamilton Southeastern, where the Royals have a hefty 35-0 bulge at the half. Ross Risley with a touchdown pass and a few touchdown runs. Let's see. Brian took my notes. Hunter Hardy, yeah, he had some touchdown runs. You need to let me see your notes more often. Okay, this is senior night, and, of course, the half will be a little bit longer than usual, which is fine, and we'll be returning to second half action with Brian Scott on the play-by-play after this halftime report. Recapping last week in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, conference leading Brownsburg kept their slate clean. In fact, they won the conference last week. 14-0 win over visiting Zionsville. Their first ever undisputed Loop championship. On an inclement night, the Bulldogs chased Dutra, and quarterback Ian Good tallied once apiece to stake the Dogs to a 14-0 lead at the break. That would be the final. Dutra's 14-yard run opened the scoring in the first period, and a 7-0 lead. Then Good scored on a 1-yard plunge just before the break as the Dogs outgained the Eagles 142-102 in total offense on a windswept and continuously raining night. Brian mentioned it was one of the wettest football campaigns of the year, or of the that he can remember, and I have to agree with him. Of course, it was kind of ironic with the drought that we had that the weather experts said would never end. Of course, it did. It's called the change of seasons. But anyway, back to the report. The Dogs didn't attempt to pass, and the visiting Eagles quarterback Parker Dunshee, he was 0 for 4. Both teams will meet next Friday night to open sectional play at Brownsburg. It was the second straight victory for the Bulldogs over Brownsburg, and the Dogs will play them for the third time in 2 years this coming Friday night in sectional play. The Dogs have played the Eagles only one other time in postseason in 2009. They won 20-14. That was the year Brownsburg won their first sectional since 1985. The Dogs are at Fishers tonight. Avon improves to 5-3, as Brian mentioned. 34-0 shutout of visiting McCutcheon. Sam Bloom, while it was inclement for other players, he apparently didn't have a problem with it. Neither did Jalen Edwards. Bloom caught a pair of scoring throws, and Edwards also hauled one in. A 20-0 Orioles second period, staking the O's to a 20-point halftime bulge. Cody Baker and Anthony Green picked up 6 in the third period and final period, respectively, as the Orioles won their 8th straight meeting in 9 tries against the Mavericks. The Orioles held the Mavericks to 80 total yards offense in the win. Avon is taking on visiting Decatur Central next Friday night in the sectional opener. This will be the first meeting ever between the two schools. The Orioles are at Zionsville tonight to conclude the 2012 regular season. Fishers improves to 6-2 with a 28-7 win. Lafayette Jeff Maurice Campbell tallied 3 Tigers touchdowns on runs of 54, 39, and 47 yards. That kind of explains his 8 carries and 199-yard output on the night. Jay Shun Harris grabbed a 14-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Ben Pritchett as the visiting Tigers raced to a 28-0 lead before Jeff responded. The Broncos, fresh off their upset of visiting Avon the Friday before, broke Darian Green loose from 8 yards out for their only score in the final frame. Campbell led Fishers with, as I mentioned, 199 yards on just 8 carries as the Tigers pile up 274 yards on the ground, and quarterback Pritchett had 9 passes out of 14 attempts for 118 yards. The Tigers are at Anderson this coming Friday night in sectional play. Lafayette Jeff will host Hamilton Southeastern, as we mentioned before, in sectional play Friday night, and they are on the road at Westfield tonight. And the Royals, as Brian mentioned earlier, they won their 5th straight last Friday night, 51-13 over visiting Harrison. The Raiders have now lost 24 straight over the past 3 seasons. Hunter Hardy rushed for a trio of touchdowns, and Taylor Christensen converted a punt return and kickoff return into 6 as the Royals raced to a 45-0 lead in the 3rd before Harrison responded. The Royals put 313 yards rushing in the books, shackled the Raiders to just 127 yards total offense. The Royals improved to 6-2 on the year, and at present tied with Fishers and Zionsville for 2nd in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. Harrison is hosting Noblesville tonight and will host McCutcheon for the sectional first-round action next Friday. Noblesville, finally, won their 3rd game of their last 5. 13-6 was the final over visiting Westfield. A surprising over Westfield, since Westfield has been able to score points on other better teams, or at least teams with better records in the conference. The Millers improved to 3-5, while Westfield slides to 2-6 on what has to be a very, very disappointing campaign for them after starting out very, very strong in the first week. Shamrocks led 6-0 at the break. Nick Ferrer connected with Devin Reese on a 45-yard scoring pass play. Ferrer would complete 12 of 25 passing for 172 yards, but Westfield let the lead get away, giving up 2 fumbles and a pair of interceptions. Westfield was also plagued with 51 penalty yards. Trace Bulger put Noblesville on the board, tying the game at 6 on a 1-yard run, and Hayden Stinnett's 1-yarder in the final frame gave the Millers the win as Noblesville outgained the Shamrocks 162-77 on the ground. Westfield is hosting Lafayette Jeff tonight, and they will host Noblesville in the sectional opener next Friday. Now let's take a look at the Hoosier Crossroads Conference itself. Tonight, Avon is at Zionsville, Brownsburg is at Fishers, Lafayette Jeff is at Westfield, Noblesville is at Harrison. And again, the sectional lineup, I know I'm finishing early, aren't I? McCutcheon is at Harrison. Yeah, there's a lot of time. You know, when I started talking, they still had 20 on the board. And they left it on there, until I was almost done with the first wrap-up.
That's all right. I think we got plenty to talk about.
Noblesville is at Westfield. Fishers is at Anderson. This is sectional draws. Again, McCutcheon's at Harrison next Friday night. Noblesville's at Westfield next Friday night. Fishers is at Anderson next Friday night. They're the only non-conference on this particular addenda. Hamilton Southeastern's at Lafayette Jeff. Zionsville's at Brownsburg in a rematch of last Friday night's game when the Eagles lost 14-0. Decatur Central is at Avon. Now, Decatur, of course, is an unknown quantity. They have never played Avon before. And if you look at Sectional 5, check that, Class 5A, Sectional 5, it has Fishers, Hamilton Southeastern, Harrison, Lafayette Jeff, McCutcheon, Noblesville, and Westfield. Anderson is the only one not in the conference. In Sectional 4, you've got Fishers, a former state champ in 2010. And then you've got Hamilton Southeastern, who is the sectional champion of 2011, who defeated Fishers for the championship of that sectional last year, dethroning them 35-10. In Sectional 6 of 5A, Avon, Brownsburg, and Zionsville, the remaining 3 from the HCC, they're playing Ben Davis. Avon, by the way, is a former sectional champion of that sectional in 2010. Ben Davis, who's the defending sectional champion of last year, who defeated Avon in a ping-pong match 64-41. Then there's Decatur Central for the Mid-State, Pike, Terre Haute North, and Terre Haute South in that particular sectional. Now, something I did want to speak, unless you wanted to talk more about the draws.
Well, let's take a look a little bit at the sectionals, because we do have some time here in this halftime. Of course, Hamilton Southeastern up on the Mavericks here at the half by the score of 35-0. And we look at the 2 draws in Class 5A that affect primarily Hoosier Crossroads Conference teams. And, of course, Sectional 4, As Doug mentioned, you've got Hamilton Southeastern taking on Lafayette Jefferson. And in that same bottom half of the bracket, you have Fishers taking on Anderson, which brings up a potential semifinal match with the only two teams really with winning records in this entire sectional, in Sectional 4. And one of the things that, we bring up usually every year or we have thoughts is, of course, about the blind draw in IHSAA. And you've got teams such as the Royals and such as the Tigers, both of them 6-2 coming into tonight's action. It looks like the Royals well on their way to 7-2. Don't have a score yet on Fishers and Brownsburg, but Brownsburg's been handling everybody rather easily, so we'll see how that one goes. But be it as it may, you're going to have the only two teams possibly with winning records in Sectional 4 meeting each other in the sectional semifinals, which kind of goes back to the whole thing. Why play the regular season if it's not going to mean anything come sectional time? If you'd like to see this thing seeded, well, then you would have it would be nice to see those two teams potentially face each other in the sectional final. As you would think, it might be a little bit more common sense. But as it is, we're going to be guaranteed in Sectional 4 that one team with a losing record, and matter of fact, nobody with more than 3 wins, as Noblesville has the most wins in the upper bracket of Sectional 4 with 3. Now, we've got action to be played tonight. Things could change, as Doug was mentioning, and for tonight, Noblesville is at Harrison, and unless Harrison can change their ways as an 0-8 team that has scored the fewest points in the league and given up the most, Noblesville might be able to creep up to 4, but they're still going to be under 500. 4 wins being the greatest number of wins in that top half of the bracket, and only Westfield has the chance of moving to 3 wins.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a rather you've got to look. I'm sure fans of the Royals and fans of the Tigers have got to look and say, hey, we got to face each other possibly in the semifinal. Granted, the team that wins has a good shot to make it to regionals.
Yeah.
But it does kind of bring up the age-old problem. What do you do? Why do you play a long regular season? You're maybe the Brownsburg Bulldogs. We talk about the relative weakness of Sectional 4. Then we go back and look at the strength of Sectional 6, which the other parts, the other members of the HCC reside in Zionsville, Brownsburg, and Avon. And you've got an 8-0 as records going into tonight's action. Brownsburg at 8-0, Ben Davis at 7-1, Zionsville at 6-2, Avon at 5-3, Pike at 5-3. So you've got those teams that will finish above 500, and 3 of them with maybe no more than 2 losses. So that makes it, and once again, you look at Sectional 6, look at the bottom half of that bracket. In the top half, you're going to have a 7-1 Ben Davis against currently 5-3 Pike, and 6-2 Zionsville against 8-0 Brownsburg. It'd be kind of nice to see Brownsburg and Ben Davis on opposite sides of the bracket, but that's not happening.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see it at some point, especially in football, because this is going to be the last year, of course, we will see 5A. And as far as Hamilton Southeastern is concerned, we are very likely to see the Royals move up to 6A.
Yeah.
Same with the Fishers Tigers, same with the Brownsburg Bulldogs and the Avon Orioles. Whether Zionsville is one of those teetering teams. But there are at least 4 teams in the HCC that will be moving into different sectionals next year. I'd like to see if we're going to redo this whole thing with sectionals and classes. Maybe we could redo this because especially in football and basketball, you play more games. Things tend to maybe even out, but the whole blind draw still to me. I have a problem with it if you can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of do too. I'm not real sure what the answer would be, because you've got a lot of schools like if one wins and losses are what's going to determine it, then you've got as opposed to the blind draw. Then you've got somebody like Cathedral who's almost always state ranked, and yet this year has a losing mark at 3-4. Now I'm not sure what they're going to be doing tonight. I believe they might have been 4-4 before tonight. but yeah, because it was the 8th game. But you're looking at a 4-4 team, but they play such a brutal schedule, and so I'm sure that they would probably have some objections to that.
Well, and it is one of those things that even if you are a Cathedral with a tough schedule, if you've gone through that and you've got a good winning record, you should be acknowledged for that.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing, and especially since the way IHSAA sets this up with, you're very much into the fairness of the home field advantage. When we start sectionals, teams that start on the road next week will get a home date should they advance.
Right.
But if you are an 8-0 Brownsburg, why shouldn't you have home field advantage if that's what you work for, or if you're a Cathedral, or what have you? So I don't know if there's an answer for it. It's great debate, Doug and I
work a lot of minutes.
Doug and I work quite often with former Avon head coach and Indiana Football Hall of Famer Dave Shelbourne, who has seen many variations of how Indiana's playoffs, many iterations of it. And I think Coach Shelbourne has always said, I don't know if there is a good one. He goes, we've seen all the bad ones. He goes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But especially when you start looking at sectional time this year, and it will be a shame should the chalk hold and we see the Tigers and the Royals meet in a sectional semifinal game. It'll be exciting. It will be from all get out. It will be at Hamilton Southeastern, I believe, and it will be a raucous and rocking and rolling crowd.
Yeah.
And the winner of that game has a clear advantage going into regional. But it would have been nice to see them meet in the sectional final instead of the semifinals.
Yeah. I guess one of the things I wanted to switch gears on, unless you still want to talk about this, was that the local newspaper, The Star, came up with the mercy rule. No mercy in Indiana high school football. And the reason why I bring this up, and I know that we talked about it a little bit before kickoff, was that when do you call it quits? Obviously you can't unless you go with a running clock. I mean, Mark Ambrogi is with the Star, and he had this particular piece about the mercy rule, and he lists states that did not participate. One of them being Ohio.
Ohio does not.
And there is no mercy rule here. Alabama, Connecticut, Florida, Idaho, a lot of states don't have one, and it's a margin of the lead at the time, like the 5-run rule in baseball. Or the 5-inning rule in baseball. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting because we were mentioning before that the object of this particular study was Cascade High School in Hendricks County, which we're both familiar with. They happened to be stomping on on one of their conference patsies. The final was 78-13. Now, I kind of have a problem with that, and I've seen it both ways. You know, a lot of people say, and they even talked to one of the Cascade linemen here, and he has been on the receiving end.
Right.
Cascade over the years has been on the receiving end, a lot of those. And so I guess it just kind of comes down to the coaches, what really is beneficial to the players. Of course, you know, if you resort to freshmen and you just run basic plays and you still have excellent blocking, because every kid wants to do his best, then I'm not sure there's much you can do about it.
No, it's. I think you bring up a big point, because it becomes very, very difficult. We've watched it in baseball for years. You've got the 7-run rules and all that, and I don't know if there is a good answer in football. As you mentioned, some use a running clock, some use a situation where if you are trailing by 35 points, then you get the football.
Sure.
You score, you get the football back, and you start again. Some say, and in Indiana, we saw this with Hamilton Southeastern last week. By agreement, you can have a running clock.
Sure.
But that's a coach's thing. That's not an IHSAA rule. When does it become too much? That is a very, very good question.
Well, the reason why I bring this up is that several years ago, in the mid-'90s, there were two schools playing, and one of them put 71 points on the board against a county rival, a hated county rival.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this particular coach had a vendetta against the other coach. Well, years later, when the school that had been pummeled was really good and actually went to the state, they had a 35-0 halftime lead on this school that had done it to them before. I talked with the coach afterwards, and I said, you knew the situation between these two coaches before when such and such put 71 on the other team. Why didn't you do the same? You ran a 2-minute offense. You look like a professional team out there. You had more than enough. He kept his starters in for one more series. It's 41-0 early in the third period. It could have easily been 77-0. And he said, I don't do things like that.
Yeah.
So I think the only answer would be, is the sportsmanlike to the coach. And the reason why I bring that up again is because I'm a big sportsman buff. I believe in sportsmanship. And while organized sports, here I am on my soapbox. I really need to get off this chair. But while organized sports can give you all kinds of things to deal with positively, you're also doing it at someone else's expense.
Yeah, I agree, and I think some of the things you also, though, see, especially in high school. Now, in your scenario, when it's a blatant coach's maneuver,
yeah,
I think that's recognized, and we saw this in the NFL earlier this year with Schiano and Tampa Bay and the infamous game against the Giants where Giants go into the victory formation and he rushes them. And Schiano's thinking is not incorrect. You play to the final whistle.
Sure.
Stranger things have happened. We've seen offensives say they're going to spike the ball. Everybody lets up, and they hit for the touchdown. Yeah. I think when you get into the high school level especially and you start seeing second and third teamers in who aren't going to get much playing time.
Right.
There's a fine line. You want to get some action under the lights. I mean, for some of these JVers, the best they're going to do is on Monday, late Monday afternoons. The lights aren't going to be on. Indiana does their varsity level system a little bit differently. They do, school to school it could be different. You could see coaches trying to get guys in to earn letters, but more often than not, if you're trying to get some JV guys some time, because they're going to be playing usually against number ones. I understand that. The question is, how do you do it? And what do you do? Now, you can still throw the ball, but if you're doing, 5-yard checks, flare passes, a flat pass, you're running the ball a lot. Well, we all go back and say you got to stop them. Yeah. Now, if you're lining up shotgun 5 wide and chucking it 90 yards, you hope that under the JV guys are going to be stopped by the other team's number ones. Yeah. If they don't, well,
then that's
then there's not much you can do.
JVs,
I think in the high school level, you still have a lot more coaches saying, well, this is when I get my learning in.
Yeah.
I've got these JV guys under the varsity head coach, varsity coaches, varsity instruction. I mean, they get their instruction, during the week, and they have their JV game and all that. But it's a little different here under the lights. So, and it's quite obvious. We will probably see you fans at home are probably going to have to really bear with us here in the second half, because we do expect to be saying a lot of names that you haven't heard of this season, or you've maybe only heard in a passing here and there.
Or I can't find him on the roster.
Or I can't find him on the roster. And we've already seen Scott May. He has given Ross Risley the rest of the night off.
Yeah.
And Ross really hasn't. He got the big touchdown pass to Cameron Polk. Had another one returned due to a penalty, because he originally had that long touchdown pass, a 65-yard touchdown pass to Cameron Polk for the second touchdown of the contest. He had one about as long to Cameron that ended up being brought back by a penalty, but that didn't seem to faze the Royals. He just marched right down, as Hunter Hardy has now rushed for 4 touchdowns. Hardy came into this game with 4 touchdowns on the season. Well, he's doubled his output in one game.
Well, in one half.
In one half.
So we'll see, yeah.
Xavier Smith, we expect to see get some touches here in this second half. And that's one of the things that we look for in games like this. And I think one of the bigger things that Coach May is going to look for here in this second half is give some of his guys a little bit of rest. As Doug and I mentioned here at the start of the game, this is one of the rarities that we've seen an HCC decided before the final week.
Yeah.
So in reality, nothing really to play for as far as conference title on the line. The Royals can finish in a tie for second, and that's about the best they can do.
Yeah.
As Dalkey is going to kick this one away as we get this second half underway. Deno fakes the reverse. He'll keep it. He'll take it to the 15, cuts it up to the 20, and he'll be wrestled down at about the 25-yard line by Zach Rietzig. And that is how the second half begins, as we're glad you're with us here for Hamilton Southeastern football. I want to thank Doug Edens for a fine halftime report. We got our soapboxes up and going and
set the world straight.
Set the world straight. Let them know that they're doing it all wrong. Meanwhile, the Mavericks, who are still looking for some points now in their second, after being shut out last week, they're down 35-0 as Morensic will take off, and he'll just simply go out of bounds at around the 33-yard line, a pickup of about 7 yards, and a flag comes in late. That one came flying. Whoever did that had some good arms. And it's a personal foul face mask away from the play. So some pushing and shoving and all at the line of scrimmage, because the ball was the play was way over here to the near side, and that flag came in late. And the personal foul face mask will go against Hamilton Southeastern, and that will tack on 15 yards and give the Mavericks a first down.
Well, you don't want to start that way in the second half. And
of course, if we take what we were talking about at halftime and we talk about mercy rules and all that, it is the one thing you do have to guard against in games like this, where you get players getting to be a little frustrated, things get a little chippy. You have to guard against that as Morensic quickly fires over. He has Costin. Costin's going to be taken down immediately, but they'll say it hit the ground and is incomplete as Costin dove to his knees trying to get it. He'll come up a little bit short, and that'll bring up second down and 10. 35-0 is our score, just underway here in the second half. Alongside Doug Edens, I'm Brian Scott. Glad you could join us for the regular season finale here for the Hamilton Southeastern Royals before they do have sectional play next week. As the Mavericks, Morensic drops back to pass, nothing open. Now he looks to the near side once again, looking for Costin near the near sideline. Coverage by Grant Hanna, and it's incomplete. That'll bring up third down. Defensively for Hamilton Southeastern, many of the first teamers still in the ball game. As Matt Morensic gets the play, comes over from the sideline, and Mavericks see what they can dial up on third down and 10 as Nate Deno will work a slot left. Mavericks will put 4 wide outs, and they'll put Morensic in the gun. Morensic back to pass, steps up in the pocket, now rolls out to his left. Fires downfield, pass is complete. That's Costin with the catch. And he's going to be ridden out of bounds over there on the far sideline by Christian Penna.
Looks like just shy of the first down.
We'll see where they mark this. Now they mark it back a yard. It will be short.
43-yard line.
This might be 4-down territory here.
Well, when you're down by 35, no reason not to go for it here. It'll be 4th down and 1 in Royal territory at the 43-yard line as Morensic will have Dealer and Deno in an eye. But it is Morensic who tries to go forward, but he did not get it as Big Chet Maxey stood up the center column post. that forced Morensic back, and this will all depend on where they said forward progress is. Initially, it looked like he was short, but now where they're spotting it, that's going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, it looks like he's got it. If it's
needed to get to about the 42-yard line, and the nose of the football is about right on the 42. If it's shy, it's going to be shy by a few chain lengths at best, as they bring the chains in from the southeastern sideline.
Yeah, I think Southeastern was looking for that particular play and actually stood it up pretty well, but he got the first down, though.
And it is a first down by just a bit. Initially, it looked like Southeastern had stood up Morensic at the line of scrimmage, but officials say he had forward progress to the 42. That's where he needed to go for the first down. So the Mavericks get the first down. They move the chains, and they'll work at 1st and 10 from the Royal 42-yard line.
Mavericks at the Royal 42.
Again, an I backfield behind Morensic. Looks over a 4-man front, but he'll drop back to pass. Pressure comes from the backside, but Morensic stops away. Fires downfield. Pass is caught by Costin, and Costin is going to be at the 20-yard line. Very, very close to Morensic being over the line of scrimmage, but a heady play by the senior. He thought about running for it, but he saw his wide receiver, 6'3", 190-pound Josh Costin, running down and running a bit of a post route. Costin picks it up at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10.
Very, very savvy play. I mean, he was kind of under heavy rush anyway and avoided that and did a good job just getting that ball out. But you're right, he was very close to the line.
It'll be 1st and 10 for McCutcheon. Ball spotted at the 20-yard line. 10 minutes left to go in quarter number 3. The Royals lead 35-0 as on the end around, here's Deno looking for some room, and a fine tackle by Grant Hanna. And Deno slow to get up as Hanna came in busting through, got him low. And Deno grabbing the back of his leg, and he will have to go out because they have stopped play.
Yeah, well, Hanna played it just right. He was contained on this particular side, made a good play on avoiding the block.
It's a loss of 19 on the play back to the 29-yard, or excuse me, a loss of 9 back to the 29. It'll be 2nd down and 19 yards to go for the Mavericks. So they tried to get Deno coming around once again on the sweep. The Royals, Grant Hanna with a fine tackle as 2nd and 19. They'll send wide receivers to the left and the right. That's Jack Beaker to the near side. Morensic back to pass. He was looking for Beaker. Beaker covered well, and finally running Morensic out of bounds over here on the near side for Hamilton Southeastern was Charlie Cummins, a 5'6", 220-pound junior, as we start to see a few more of the 2nd and 3rd teamers filter in and out. Starting secondary for the Royals is in the football game, but some of the linemen are 2nd and 3rd teamers. 3rd down and 19 for McCutcheon. Clock at 9:18 as Morensic drops back to pass once again. Steps up in the pocket, but he's going to go down. Jimmy McCarthy, a 6'5", 250-pound junior who has been in the backfield all game long for the Royals. He has pressured Morensic. Morensic has done a fine job of eluding the pressure, but that time McCarthy was able to get a hand on him and bring him down for a loss back to the 35-yard line, and it's going to bring up 4th down and about 25 yards to go as Jake Shake is on to punt.
Shake in punt formation, deep for the Royals.
Christensen and Rietzig, Zach and Taylor stand back at their 10-yard line. Shake has done a good job of getting height on these punts, and he gets this one up in the air, but this one looks like it's going to go into the end zone, and he almost manages to get that ball to back up on the goal line, but it goes in for the touchback. And Hamilton Southeastern will have their first drive of the second half, 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line, leading 35-0 with 8:25 left to go in this 3rd quarter of play.
Well, the Mavericks rallied and came up a little bit short couldn't quite hold the Royals out from pressuring their quarterback. And they've just got to kind of suck it up here, maybe force a 3-and-out.
As Hamilton Southeastern will start this drive, it is Ross Risley that starts quarter number 3, and the pitch comes around to the far side, and Tyler Janney, who has been the backup quarterback but is getting a few runs here at tailback as head coach Scott May continues to look for some other options back there in the running game, with Ryan Ripp out this week and likely next week. It'll be Chris Ford lining up to the near side. Cameron Polk is the wide out to the far side as Risley looks over a 4-man front, but the pitch is to Hardy, and Hardy goes over the right side out beyond the 30-yard line, and the Royals will have a first down. It's just been a staple of Hamilton Southeastern here this evening.
Yeah, that quick pitch off the right side, the short side. Again, excellent blocking at the point of attack. Hamilton Southeastern's line has both sides of the ball really asserted themselves tonight.
Hardy has gotten the majority of his rushes beyond the tackles. He's taken a few up the middle, but the majority of them have been around the ends as Polk is the man in motion to the near side. Here's Hardy on the pitch once again. Finds room around the right side to the 40, and he has stood up at about the 45-yard line, and they're still trying to bring him down. They finally do at the 45, but a pickup of 15 yards on the play and a first down for Hamilton Southeastern.
I'll tell you what, I hate seeing things like that simply because of the fact that you can get hurt pretty quickly that way.
Did seem like the officials might have been a little slow with the whistle as the play was evidently stopped. But it's a 15-yard gain for Hunter Hardy and a 1st and 10 for the Royals. 7 minutes left to go in this third quarter. Royals up 35-0 as Risley now works out of the gun. But it's a keeper by Risley. Risley right side to the 45, to the 40, to the 30, down to the 20, to the 10, and he will take it to the house. A 55-yard touchdown run by Ross Risley. Little bit of misdirection as he was faked the handoff to Tyler Janney up the middle and just simply kept it himself, took it over the right side, and 55 yards later, Ross Risley is in the end zone.
Well, he showed some nice speed getting to the outside and hugging that sideline. And I'd wondered if I'd seen some option play on the Royals in their repertoire, so it looks like they were working on that at least.
Dahlke once again perfect on the point after. And with 6:40 left to go in quarter number 3, Hamilton Southeastern has extended their lead. They now lead 42-0. You're watching Hamilton Southeastern football on Audio Sports Online. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the action of Royals football this season, go to Audio Sports Online, click on the Hamilton Southeastern page, and they have an on-demand podcast available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, totally free of charge. That's on Audio Sports Online. Don't forget, high school basketball right around the corner as sectional play will begin next week in football, and high school basketball will be starting up here in about 4 or 5 weeks, as October will give way to November.
Yeah, we'll see what we have lined up. That ought to be fun.
We will have, I'm sure we will have plenty of basketball here on Audio Sports Online. Keep a look at the homepage, and once we start getting schedules lined up, Mr. Rob Kendall will be hard at work on the keyboard and the mouse, making sure we get those schedules up and on the website. Dahlke kicks off, and he's been going short. This one's going to be fielded by an up back at the 20 to the 25 and up to the 30-yard line, as I believe that is Ross Witchman with the kickoff return. And
looked like that was Frank Sergi on the stop for the Royals.
And we are going to be scanning rosters, I would imagine, for the next quarter and a half. As
took me a while to find that one.
The Mavericks will take over 1st and 10 on their own 31-yard line. 6:33 remaining in the third quarter as Final game of the regular season. As Marensick on 1st and 10 drops back to pass, fires down the field, and penalty flags will fly from all over the place as Nate Deno was basically grabbed and drugged down to the ground.
Taylor McDougal was on him, not the way you're supposed to be. That was pretty blatant, really obvious there, and drew flags from a lot of the officials. And just kind of dragged him down. That's what you do when somebody's got you.
Well, Deno had a step, and that's about all Taylor thought he could do was grab him, and he'll be called for the pass interference penalty. So they'll move this ball down the field, and when they stop, they will be at the 46-yard line of McCutcheon with a 1st down and 10. 6:28 remaining in quarter number 3. Royals leading 42-0 as Southeastern.
You know, as heartening as these yards are for McCutcheon, they just haven't translated into any points yet. And I'm not sure they can continue to count on them.
Well, I would imagine for Coach Frawhager, we talk about Coach May maybe getting some second and third teamers in there. I'm sure what Coach Frawhager is looking for is some offense and a touchdown from his first teamers as Marensick is back to pass on 1st and 10. Fires in and out of the hands. Looked like that was Deno. As coming in and making the hit for Hamilton Southeastern.
That was Ryan Clements, the inside backer, number 53, I believe. Yeah, and that was a perfectly timed hit. Good play.
Actually, they say the pass was intended for Jack Beaker, but it falls incomplete, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Mavericks. As they break the huddle, only 6 seconds remain on the play clock. They'll have to get this one off in a hurry. As Marensick does with 2 seconds left. Drops back to pass. Here comes the rush. Steps up in the pocket, and he'll finally go down as coming in and making a one-handed grab was for Hamilton Southeastern was Dylan Wilcher, the 5'11", 199-pound senior linebacker and the leading tackler for Hamilton Southeastern. And he manages to keep it to about a yard gain. It's going to be 3rd down and a long 9 for the Mavericks.
Taylor McDougal was in there as well. Good linebacker play that time for the Royals.
Beaker and Deno will go to the far side. Costin is lined up on the near side. Dropping back to pass is Marensick. Fires off to the left. Pass is complete to Nate Deno. And Deno's going to be wrapped up immediately over on that far sideline. As coming in to make the hit for, I believe, was Dakota Thomas for the Royals. That's going to bring up 4th down, and this time they will once again bring Jake Shake out to punt. So Shake getting a lot of practice here in this game, as once again Taylor and Zach drop back near their own 10-yard line to receive this punt as we approach the 5-minute mark left in this 3rd quarter. And it's a fake. They give it to the back. He's coming to the near side, to the 45, to the 40. Has the 1st down. And Taylor Christensen was the only man able to knock Matt Muncie out of bounds. So Ken Frawhager pulls one out of the hat. He runs the fake punt. And the Mavericks convert as Muncie's able to get it down to the 35-yard line and to give McCutcheon a 1st down.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a great kick-out block by Caleb Harper on that play for McCutcheon that sprung him.
So Marensick now works out of the gun. Pressure comes. He comes near side, fires downfield, pass incomplete. Looking over here to the near side for Blake Elming. Elming, I believe, caught it, but he caught it out of bounds. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Brings up 2nd down.
Well, those are the things you can work on. We talk about big leads, and you say for the team with the lead, they get very conservative. If you are down, well, you've got nothing to lose. So,
yeah,
a perfect time to pull one of those plays, and Mavericks do an excellent job of execution. 2 wideouts to the near side. Beaker to the far side. Marensick back to pass. Fires over the middle. In and out of the hands of Josh Costin. As coming in hard for the Hamilton Southeastern Royals was Ryan Clements. And it'll bring up third down.
Well, the pass was a little low, and Costin set down for it, and Clements came right over the top. Just a good play. Timed it perfectly.
Very, very good play by the sophomore linebacker for the Royals, Ryan Clements, and that'll bring up third 10 for the Mavericks as they break the huddle. 6 seconds on the play clock. Morenzik with backs in an eye. Drops back to pass, looks, fires left side, fires high, looking for Beaker over on the far sideline. Christian Penna, among others, in coverage. It goes incomplete, and once again, Coach Brawhager will send out the punt team.
Well, I think Beaker wanted a flag on that one. He wasn't going to get one. But I saw him pleading his case to the back judge there.
This time the Royals will only send Zach Rietzig back as a single safety. They'll bring Taylor Christensen up, and they're going to go for the field goal here, as this will be a 52-yard field goal. We know Shake has a leg. No wind here, so we'll see. And the good snap, good hold. Kick is up, but it's going to be just shy. Good try by the 6 foot, 175-pound junior kicker for the Mavericks, but not quite enough leg as it falls about 5 yards short.
Yeah, he was, like you said, he was about 5 short.
And that will give the ball back to Hamilton Southeastern. Royals up 42-0 with 4:27 left to go in this third quarter. And the offense will come out, and it looks like Tyler Janney will be at the helm of the Royals offense as we start to see a few new faces. Tailback is Phoenix Badua, as they'll send a man in motion, but the give is to Badua, and Phoenix around the right side has room to the 30, to the 35, 40, 45, 50, and Phoenix will go all the way. Badua from 80 yards as he runs it in for the touchdown. And now we've got some.
Looks like a post play foul. 3 flags out there now.
There's some jawing going down the field, and you're right. I believe this is going to be a dead ball field, but Phoenix Badua with an 80-yard touchdown run. Looked like he was going to be stopped at about the 28, but ran away from a tackle and ran it into the end zone, and now the officials are standing at about the 23-yard line.
I think Coach May is going to have a talking to some folks tonight. These things are so unnecessary.
Well, they're going to give both a personal foul and an unsportsmanlike conduct. So double fouls, double dead ball fouls, and that's going to be tacked on to the kickoff, which is going to mean that we're going to probably see the Royals kicking off from well inside McCutcheon territory. Meanwhile, the run by Badua stands. And Connor Dahlke waits for everybody to get ready so he can kick for the extra point. So Dahlke now on for his 7th point after of the evening. He has been perfect so far. High snap, but they get it down. Kick is up, and the kick is good. Phoenix Badua breaks off an 80-yard touchdown run, and the Hamilton Southeastern Royals are now up front by the score of 49-0 with 4 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And now we'll see where they elect to kick this ball off from, because it could be well inside Maverick territory. They're going to march it, and they're going to be kicking off from the 30-yard line of McCutcheon. So I imagine Coach May is just going to have Connor see if he can make it as a field goal. He's just going to kick it deep. No sense if the scoreboard was any different, you would definitely try an onside kick or something from this range. But with a 49-0 lead, we will likely see Connor just see if he can split the uprights on the kickoff.
Yeah, I've I've never seen a kickoff like this before.
So we had a personal
Be
foul.
interesting. Yeah.
And this all set up that on the touchdown run, well after the play, as things started getting chippy going down the field. They called a personal foul against McCutcheon and then followed that with an unsportsmanlike conduct, 2 15-yard dead ball penalties. So instead of kicking off from the 40-yard line of Southeastern, they're going to kick it off from the 30-yard line of McCutcheon. So a rather unusual, and like I said, I imagine Connor is just simply going to see if he can split the uprights, which from this distance he can, and he has actually marked this off as a field goal, and it's what he's going to try, and he would have been good, and he would have been good from a long ways away. So interesting, as Connor set up to get that kickoff, he took his traditional field goal mark off. No hiding of what he was going to do. Took his field goal mark off and just got a little practice in.
Just showing off.
Well, that was a 40-yard field goal. It would have been easily made from about 55 yards, but be that as it may, it is a 49-0 lead for Southeastern. 4:12 remains in this third quarter, and the Mavericks still looking for something they can hang a hope on here, as get some offense going, as Morenzik back to pass. Now flushed out. Penalty flag comes. Holding is going to be against the Mavericks, as Morenzik will get 5-6 hard-earned yards, but all for naught, as this one's going to be brought back on the hold.
Yeah. Number 74.
As we are now starting to have to scour the
Kyle McGee, the 6'1", 275-pound junior tackle, has just had his hands full on that, trying to protect the quarterback tonight. Just really has.
For Morenzik, he has done an excellent job of evading pressure. Jimmy McCarthy was finally able to get him a little earlier, but Morenzik has done a fine job of eluding pressure, but his problem is that the Southeastern secondary has done a good job of covering up Maverick receivers. He's been able to put some balls in there, and for Matt Morenzik, I would say this has actually been one of his better games. He just hasn't been able to get this ball into the end zone. High backfield on this first down, and very, very, very long, as Morenzik is going to give. Coming around the left side to the 20, to the 30, to the 40. This is Blake Elming. And Blake Elming is going to run it all the way back, and that will bring the Mavericks crowd to their feet. Big, big play, as that goes for 83 yards. And Blake Elming puts the Mavericks on the board for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think that's something they can hang their hat on.
Good job of turning the corner, and then he simply outran the Royals' defense. And Elming took it up the far sideline, and the Mavericks are on the board as the fireworks go off. Shake's point after is up. It is good.
Nope.
No good, excuse me. Said he missed that one. So
now will McCutcheon try an onside kick?
Well, it's one of those things. Do you try it? And if I'm them, you might as well. 3:27 remains in the third quarter, and Blake Elming's 83-yard touchdown run puts McCutcheon on the board. They now trail 49-6, as the point after is wide to the left by Jake Shake. But what had been a quiet crowd here at McCutcheon. It is senior night, of course, the final home game of the regular season, final game of the regular season. So the crowd on hand to acknowledge the senior players on this Maverick football team, and that gives them a little bit of something to yell about, and a good run by Blake Elming. So Shake is going to put the ball at the 40-yard line, as the Royals will set up as bring everybody fairly close just in case. As we're still waiting for the official to give the signal. He's over here talking to the line judge, and now they say give. As Shake will kick off. It'll be taken at the 12, to the 15, to the 20, 25, still running, and then finally brought down, and wait to see who that was once they unpile. And for Hamilton Southeastern, that was Chris Latham with the return. And Chris will take it up to about the 29-yard line, and that's where Hamilton Southeastern will have it. First down and 10, 49-6 is our score, and 3:19 remains in this third quarter.
And that was Tavares Weaver, a junior for McCutcheon on that particular play.
So looks like we're going to start seeing a whole lot of different players here as we head toward the fourth quarter. Tyler Janney remains the quarterback for Southeastern as they set the offense, and the give is to Badua, and Badua, this time he's going to be bent back, but not before he picks up about 4 or 5 yards. So Phoenix, his first run is a 80-yard touchdown run. His second run not quite as long. It goes for 4 yards, and he's met rather rudely, and they'll give him an extra yard. So
didn't need an oxygen mask after that one.
Well, for Phoenix, getting a chance to get some carries, and of course that's what Coach May is looking for here in this game. If Ryan Ripp is not going to be available, start looking for some running backs. Is the other thing that Hamilton Southeastern is going to have to watch is Chris Latham lines up at the wide side, but it's a give to Badua, and Badua once again finds no room. They might have even lost a yard. We'll see where they spot the ball. Yeah, they'll give him about a half a yard on the play, but it'll bring up 3rd down and 4 for Southeastern. Ball spotted at the 35-yard line of the Royals. As we take a look at where people are lined up, and coming over to the near side is John Dye for Southeastern. Janney looks to give it to the fullback, and that didn't look like it had a whole lot to going for it when it started, and in the end it's a loss on the play. As coming up with the run for the Royals was Xavier Smith, and Xavier, he is not looking too good, and that is not a good sign for the Royals because they are really looking at him to be the backup fullback for Ryan Ford. And Xavier looks like something right knee, right ankle. He's trying to get up and move. But that would be a big, big hurt for Southeastern if Xavier is unable to do anything.
Well, it looked to me like somebody rolled up on his ankle in that melee, trying to bring him down. And just excellent pursuit. Alex Nicholson, the defensive back, the junior for McCutcheon, along with Caleb Harper, the linebacker, did a good job on that particular series for the Mavericks.
Xavier is walking off under his own power, but he's doing so very gingerly. But it will be 4th down for Southeastern as Elming and Brewer will drop back for the Mavericks. They'll sit back at about their 39-yard line as Connor Dahlke is on the punt for, I believe, only the second time in this football game. Minute 39 remains, and the ball bounces, but it goes right into Dahlke's hands. He's able to get rid of it. Brewer at the 38, goes to the 45, to the 50, into the Royals territory at the 40, and Connor Dahlke finally has to make the play as the punter stops him inside the 30-yard line, close to the 29, and Mavericks with excellent field position.
Yeah, we'll see what the Royals come up with, the coach, as far as substitutions go, how they play. And this is a very good test for them. Close to the red zone, this is where you want your defense to really make a stand, really focus.
They'll say that Elming went out at about the 28-yard line, or Brewer, excuse me, and it's 1st and 10 for the Mavericks. As Morenzik has an eye backs behind him. They'll send a man in motion. The give is to Deno coming around the near side. Stretches it outside, turns it up, and is finally going to be ridden out of bounds over here on the near side by Ryson Wilstrom. Ryson, a 5'10", 157-pound senior, getting some playing time here in the final regular season game as Deno's able to get the first down inside the 20 down to about the 18-yard line. And actually it's going to be spotted 1 yard in from that at the 17. So 1st and 10 for the Mavericks is indeed their entire first-team offense still on the field. They will move Beeler to a wing left, and the give is to Deno. Deno cuts it up inside, but he's going to be brought down one-handed. It's coming in to make the play for Hamilton Southeastern, I believe, was Taylor McDougal. He just kind of grabbed a hold up high on the shoulder pads of Deno and brought him down with one hand. So 2nd down and 9. Ball now at just in about the 16-yard line. Under 50 seconds left to go in this third quarter. As the Mavericks send 2 wide out to the far side with Beeler and Deno in an eye. The give is to the near side. Here's Deno looking for some room. Good stiff arm. Takes it up inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line as Deno with a nice stiff arm allowed him to get in about another 2 or 3 yards on the play. Rice and Wilstrom and a few others in on the tackle as that could be the final play of the third quarter. 15 seconds remain in quarter number 3. 49-6 is our score. And they will indeed flip ends. We played 3 quarters here at McCutcheon High School. And Hamilton Southeastern out in front by the score of 49-6. This is Hamilton Southeastern football on Audio Sports Online. My name's Brian Scott, alongside Doug Edens. Glad you could join us tonight for Royals football as the 2012 regular season finale before sectionals begin next week. Of course, as I've mentioned numerous times, Hamilton Southeastern will be very used to this road to Lafayette as they will have to return to the Lafayette area next Friday as they will open up sectional play against Lafayette Jefferson for what the Royals possibly hope for is a sectional semifinal match afterwards with rivals Fisher. But still some ways to go before we get there. And right now we still have 12 minutes of football left here at McCutcheon. And the Mavericks will have it 3rd down and 3. And they will spot the ball at the Royal 9-yard line. Let's call it 3rd down, maybe 2. As we have flipped ends as Morenzik bends under center, looks, fires left side, looking for Costin, incomplete. Coming in to make the play, I believe, was Giovanni Blades, who jumped the route, managed to get a hand on that, knock it away from Costin, make it 4th down.
It looked as though Costin kind of played defensive back himself because, like you said, Blades jumped the route, and that could have been 6 the other way.
4th down and long 2 yards to go for the Mavericks, who will go for it here deep in Royal territory. Eye backfield behind Morenzik, looks over a 4-man front. Morenzik gives it to the fullback, and Beeler is going to be very close, but I'm not so sure he got there to get the first down. We'll see.
I thought he was knocked down before he got to it myself.
And it indeed the Royal defense has held as Beeler could only get about a yard or so before Ryan Clements and others were in there to make the stop. So the Mavericks will turn it over on downs, and the Royals will have the ball 1st and 10. As the ball will be spotted at the 8-yard line.
Ball spotted at the 8-yard line, 1st and 10 Royals.
So the Mavericks, even working with a short field, try to get some traction, but the Royal defense holds. And with 11:49 left to go in the 4th quarter, Southeastern's offense is back on the field, leading 49-6. As take a look. A new quarterback for Southeastern as the pitch comes near side, I believe, to Badua. But Dacian Martinez is now in for Southeastern. Dacian, a 5'9", 170-pound junior, getting some action here in this fourth quarter. We've seen Ross Risley. We've seen Tyler Janney. And now Dacian Martinez's turn at the helm of the Royal offense, and he will have a 2nd down and 9 coming up. High backfield behind Martinez. They'll bring a man in motion to the far side. Give is to the fullback, who is lost under a swarm of maroon-colored jerseys.
Yeah, the Mavericks were waiting for that. Of course, you're looking at a veteran group. I think Coach is going to keep his starters out there for the entire ball game.
That's going to bring up 3rd down and about 7 for the Royals. Phoenix Badua remains the tailback. And they are in an eye behind Martinez. Martinez rolls out, eludes the pressure, keeps it himself, and he will go down as Lucas Robinson made the initial hit. Matt Muncy followed up, and Martinez, he's going to pick up 4 or 5 yards, but that's about all, and it'll bring up 4th down for Southeastern. So the Royals will go 3 and out as Connor Dahlke will be on to punt. Kyle Brewer, Blake Elming back deep for the Mavericks. They'll stand at the Royal 46-yard line. Clock moving, 9:53 left to go in this football game as a late player runs on the field for Southeastern. They get the ball to Dahlke, and Dahlke gets this one away. Good punt. Forces Elming back to midfield. Takes it up the sideline to the 40, and he'll pick up some good yardage on the return inside Royals territory, inside the 40. And they'll spot the ball at around the 38-yard line. 1st and 10 Mavericks.
Well, it looks like the coach is going to leave his starters out there.
So now we've watched this officiating crew spot this ball about 17 different ways in this football game.
Yeah, that's for
They
sure.
They move it left and right, up and down, and where we think it's at one spot, we find out it's either a yard or 2 either way. So they move it back now to the 40-yard line. 1st and 10 Mavericks, 9:35 remaining, 4th quarter, 49-6 is our score. As the pitch goes to Deno, looking for some room around the near side, and he'll get a yard or 2 before being brought down, tackled by Southeastern's Frank Sergi.
Well, you know, that's what you want your second unit people to be able to do, is to respond to the ball just like they were filling in for starters. And I think Coach May has got a pretty good idea here. And he'll have to take a look at his own tape to see if he needs to make any changes for next Friday's ball game.
2nd and 8 for the Mavericks. Beaker and Elming will go out to the far side. Costin the wide out to the near side, but it gives Deno right up the middle. Bounces it out, finds some room on the near side to the 30, 25-20, down to the 10, and he will take it all the way in for the touchdown. 38-yard run by Nate Deno, a fine run. And the Mavericks pick up a 2nd touchdown. They now trail 49-12 as the fireworks go off. Just a fine run by Nate Deno, and as we said, he is the player that the Mavericks like to get the ball into his hands. He's a 6-foot, 175-pound junior. As Shake is on for the extra point, he missed his only other extra point try. And he gets this one up in the air, and the kick is good. So with 8:48 remaining in this football game, the Mavericks tack on a touchdown, and it's now 49-13 in favor of Hamilton Southeastern. Nate Deno again with a very fine run. Was looking for some room up the middle. It wasn't there. He was able to bounce it around to the near side, and then he took it up the sideline, and he was off to the races. With the very few are going to be able to catch up with him. And the Mavericks get a late touchdown. They now trail 49-13, and as I mentioned, that's going into sectional play next week for the Mavericks. That's something like to see, to get at least some points, get something on the board. As McCutcheon next week, they will be taking on Harrison in their sectional opener, and Harrison so far winless on the season. They were playing Noblesville tonight.
I believe that Harrison's the only win for McCutcheon tonight, or this particular season.
It has been, that is the Mavericks' lone win of the year. As Shake's just going to kick this one deep, but whistles are going to stop all over the place, as evidently the referee said, I wasn't quite ready yet, and this officiating crew at times has not been ready a whole lot this evening.
Now I have to wonder how many more points Hamilton Southeastern is going to put on going to allow before they put their starters back in on defense.
Well, I don't think Coach May, unless something drastic happens here in the final 8:48, I don't really believe he's going to be bringing in the first teamers. What they are going to do, though, is bring everybody up close now. And now they'll split off. So now the referee says, I'm ready for play, and gives the appropriate signal, and Shake will run up and put a foot into it. This one's a spinner. It's going to be taken by an up back at the 20, to the 25, and to the 30, and that's about as far as we're going to get. As coming with the ball was Jocko Alexa. He's getting a chance to run it. Jocko, normally a starting linebacker. He takes the kick and returns it to the 30-yard line, and that's where the Royals will have it, 1st and 10. 8:43 remains in quarter number 4. Southeastern with a 49-13 win for the Royals. They have been putting points up in bunches over the last 5 games. In fact, since their loss to Brownsburg, the fewest points they have scored are 31 against Noblesville. As the pitch goes to the far side, here's Phoenix Badua looking for some room, and he'll take it up the 30 to about the 32, 33-yard line as Dacian Martinez remains the quarterback for Southeastern. Pickup of about 3 yards on the play to bring up 2nd and 7. So a beautiful fall evening here in central Indiana. Even nicer night if you're a Southeastern fan, as they took control of this game from the opening kickoff, and they've never let go. They lead 49-13 as Martinez in the offense. Here's a give to Badua, Martinez keeps it, goes around the left side to the 50, and he will take it inside the 45, still going. And they will spot Dacian down at about the 38-yard line. So good little bit of misdirection and hiding the football, and Martinez comes with it, and he'll take it all the way down to the 38-yard line.
Well, that was a nice option play, like the old Oklahoma-type option without all the faking, of course, and the dives. But it was a good run for him, and certainly a boost for the second stringers out there now for the Royals.
Again, Martinez, the third quarterback Southeastern has used in this football game. As Badua, the lone back, and he'll get the football. And no, that's not Badua, but making the run all the way down inside the 20 for Hamilton Southeastern is Giovanni Blades. So Giovanni Blades gets the carry. He'll take it inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line. It's the third Southeastern back that's broken off a nice run, and Giovanni takes it to the 18.
Well, that time the Royals line just kind of asserted itself. Excellent blocking at the point of attack, and that's what it comes down to, is you're going to win in the trenches. That old cliche, just really, really true tonight.
Blades is the fullback. Badua is the tailback out of the eye as Martinez bends under center. Long count by Dacian, and he'll give it to Badua. Badua dragging defenders with him. Will take it inside the 10. And a pickup of about 8 yards on the play. If they spot this ball at the 10-yard line, it'll be 2nd down and 2 for Hamilton Southeastern. Clock continues to move. 6:40 left to go in the fourth quarter as Southeastern running the ball here on this drive. This drive started at the 30-yard line. A couple of nice runs by Blades and Badua. And a very nice run by Dacian Martinez as it deepened Maverick territory. Again, Blades and Badua in an eye. Martinez will give it to Blades. Blades comes around the right side, and he will pick up about 5 yards on the play before he is brought down. Tackle made by Derek Williams of the Mavericks. And a pick up of 5. It'll be first down and goal for the Royals at the 5-yard line. So Blades and Badua here on this drive, along with a nice Martinez run. That's been the Royals' offense so far. And they will keep it as such, as they'll go with a jumbo package, as Brock Sanders is a wing right. Martinez gives it to Blades. Blades looks for some room around the right side. He is spinning, and they will spot him just shy of the goal line, as Giovanni made a couple of nice spins close to the goal line, but the Mavericks are able to keep him out and bring up second and goal. Clock moves, 5:23 left to go fourth quarter. Southeastern up 49-13, and knocking on the door here on this drive is its second down and goal from the 1-yard line. Sanders will now exit. And once again, it's Giovanni Blades and Phoenix Badua in an eye behind Martinez. Dacian bends under center. And on the option, I'm not sure. I think Martinez ended up keeping it. He wanted to give it to Blades, and they just really couldn't get that exchange. And in the end, Martinez kind of forced to eat it himself.
Well, 59 there for McCutcheon. Thomas Shoemaker did a pretty good job shooting the gap and kind of blowing that up, right, and stopping them short.
It's going to be
pushing them back.
Yeah, loss of a couple on the play, back to the 4-yard line. Third down and goal for Royals. And Blades and Badua will remain in the eye. Once again, they will send Brock Sanders wing right, as McCutcheon loads up for the blitz up the middle. The give is to Badua. Badua will take it over the right side and in for the touchdown. So Phoenix Badua with his second touchdown of the football game. This one from 4 yards out, and the Royals extend their lead to 55-13 pending the Connor Dahlke point after. So Southeastern clicking on all cylinders from all first, second, and possibly third teams.
John Dye to hold.
As Dahlke on for the point after. Been perfect so far tonight. High snap, good hold. Penalty flag flies. The point after is good, but a flag over on the far side. It was an excellent hold by John Dye on a high snap, and they're going to call illegal procedure against Southeastern. And that happened as soon as the ball was snapped, so evidently somebody not on the line. So they throw the flag, and they'll mark off 5 yards, and they'll let Dahlke get some more practice in.
That's what it about amounts to.
Well, Connor's been able to practice on a kickoff. He has hit every extra point. The Royals have definitely had the strategy of making sure not to kick deep to either Elming or Brewer or Deno. And now this will be a 25-yard point after, and the result is the same.
Yeah.
4:01 remains in the fourth quarter, and Southeastern now leads the Mavericks by the score of 56-13. As Phoenix Badua picks up his second touchdown run of the ball game. Hunter Hardy has 4 touchdowns to his credit. Ross Risley with a long 55-yard touchdown. As a matter of fact, if we go back and look at some of these touchdown runs, are some of the big plays once again for Southeastern. A 65-yard scoring pass from Risley to Cameron Polk. They also received some big running touchdowns, as coming in and running for 55 yards was Ross Risley, 80 yards from Phoenix Badua.
Well, I was very, very impressed with Dacian Martinez, excuse me. He did an excellent job quarterbacking, had some people in his face early, and playing basically against starters, and did a very good job, especially on his crucial first down run on this particular possession.
Deno and Brewer back deep for the Mavericks as Dalkey, or actually that is not Connor Dalkey, setting up and kicking this one. It'll be Deno taking it about the 6. And he will run right into a couple of Royals, as kicking that ball off for Hamilton Southeastern was Brady Hoffman, a 5'10", 151-pound sophomore. He's getting a chance here late in this game, as Dalkey is probably going to go back to the locker room and ice his leg. Meanwhile, for the Mavericks, they're going to have it 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line, now trailing 56-13. 3 minutes and 48 seconds remain in this football game. Another impressive night for Hamilton Southeastern.
Now Jamie Fryer's in at quarterback for McCutcheon.
New quarterback for the Mavericks, and here's a run right up the middle, and running for that will be John Bonaguro, who will take that up to about the 38-yard line. Nice run by the young man. Bonaguro is a 5'8", 135-pound sophomore. He's listed as a defensive back, but getting some playing time here at running back. As once again, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Mavericks. 3:20 remains with the clock moving. Give is up the middle, and it's for very little gain. As again, Jamie Fryer, the quarterback.
This is the last regular season game of the year.
As now we look like we're going to have a few more changes here, as it looks like Ken Frawhigger is going to make sure everybody gets a chance to play here in this final game. Fryer comes back with the play as they shuttle in a whole host of players left and right for this 2nd down and 8. Southeastern on its way to finishing 7-2 in the regular season, and we're going to have somebody so far off that the official's not even going to worry about it here in a 56-13 game, as the slot man on the near side was about a yard into the Royals
he was.
line, and the line judge just decided, nah, we're not going to mess with it. So they let the play go. It's actually a loss of about 4 on the play back to the 36-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 12.
So that just about accomplished the same thing anyway.
Approaching the 2-minute mark left in the 4th quarter, as Fryer just now getting the play in with 6 seconds on the play clock. They've probably got no chance in getting this one off. See if they call timeout. And referee looked for as long as he could, but finally is going to call. And yeah, he's just asking, do you want a timeout? Yeah. That's,
oh my. Wow.
Things that happen in a 56-13 game. We've seen a player line up in the Royals line, and now we see a delay of game that you did want to call a timeout, didn't you? Yes, we did. After the fact, is both teams, of course, with full allotment of timeouts. So Coach Frawhigger, they're saying, yeah, let's not mark you back 5. We're gonna stop the clock anyway. Let's just call the timeout. So 56-13 is our score, as Coach Frawhigger now working with a lot of 2nd and 3rd teamers. A lot of confusion on the field as personnel. And And we still got a player here on the near side that might be rather close to lining up off sides, but Fryer will bend under center with an I backfield behind him. He will look, he'll fire over the middle, pass incomplete. He was looking over. He was looking for Luke Beeler, a 5'8", 175-pound sophomore tight end. It'll bring up fourth down. And going back as a single safety for the Royals is Ben Hogenkamp. So Shake is going to punt this ball away with 1:43 left to go in this contest, 56-13. Mavericks have pulled off a successful fake punt tonight, but I don't think we're going to see that here. Nice kick by Jake Shake. He'll drive Hogenkamp, and Hogenkamp wisely just lets this one go as the coverage team was down there in a hurry, and Shake gets off his best punt of the night as it will be down at about the 16-yard line.
Looks like that's the only way the starters are going to stay on the field is on the coverage teams.
Well, Shake has done a good job of keeping Southeastern's returns to a minimum with good high kicks, allowing his coverage team to get down the field. And that time he did it again as Hogenkamp wisely, probably one of his first tries at fielding a punt, and he just said, yeah, never mind, we'll let it bounce. And it looks like Southeastern's just going to kneel on this for the final minute 30. So Martinez simply going to take a knee. And if the official is smart, he will delay as long as he can before marking the play clock. And slowly moving left. They're going to slowly bring the ball in from the sideline, and they're going to milk this for all it's worth so that they can get this game done and over with. For Hamilton Southeastern, they're going to improve to 7-2 on the season. That is how they will finish their regular seasons. The clock is now under a minute, and they have yet to start the play clock. Now they have, as they've made sure that they will not have to run a play. They'll only have to run this play, and that'll be it. Southeastern will move to 7-2 on the season. They will travel back up to Lafayette next week, where they will take on Lafayette Jefferson in their sectional opener. As Doug and I mentioned earlier during the halftime, Sectional 4 in Class 5A is looking rather on the weak side, but unfortunately for Hamilton Southeastern, they have the Fishers Tigers on the south side of the bracket with them. So Fishers will be playing at Anderson next week. The Royals will be playing at Jeff, and the winner of those two games will meet each other. And for Tigers and Royal fans, they're hoping, well, it's going to be each other, as McCutcheon is going to fall to 1-8 on the season. That is how they'll finish their regular season. They will open up at Harrison next Friday, and again, as Doug mentioned, that is the only win on the Mavericks schedule this year. They knocked off Harrison earlier in the year, and that is who they will open up with in sectional play next week. So, Doug, we've watched Hamilton Southeastern. We've now watched them, if you've been following for the last 4 or 5 weeks. Offensively, the Royals have looked tough for about 5 weeks now. Nothing to dispel that tonight. And for Royal fans, you do kind of have to take that with a bit of a grain of salt. Of course, Southeastern had the toughest part of their schedule the first half of the season. It significantly eased up after the Brownsburg game. And, of course, they got that big win against Zionsville, and things have just roller coastered since then. So Royals will be moving in a good positive direction as they hit into sectional play next week.
Yeah, again, just kind of reiterating this, as Brian mentioned, McCutcheon will be at Harrison next Friday night. The other HCC lineups, Noblesville will be at Westfield for the start of sectional play. Fishers will be at Anderson. Hamilton Southeastern, of course, at Lafayette Jeff next Friday. Zionsville at Brownsburg, the replay, the rematch of last Friday night's shutout win by the Bulldogs, and Decatur Central at Avon. They've never played each other, so that ought to be a good one.
And for those fans that like to follow Doug and I around, that's likely where we're going to be next week, as the Avon Orioles and the Decatur Central Hawks. As Doug said, first time those two teams have ever met. Sectional 6, very, very tough sectional. And in Class 5A. But for Royals fans, they'll go home with a win. They've now won their last 6 in a row. They will head into sectional play on a roll, and you got to feel real good. Hopefully we'll see if Ryan Ripp can come back next week against Jeff, but if not, got some good running out of Hunter Hardy tonight. The one caveat, we saw Xavier Smith go down with what looked like an ankle injury. Of course, with the games already in hand, didn't see any need for him to come back, but they got some good running by Phoenix Badua here in the second half. Saw a little bit of different scenarios. We even saw Tyler Janney, the backup quarterback lineup at tailback, get a couple of runs. Ross Risley looked very good.
Very good.
In this football game. Had some nice passes. Hit Cameron Polk for one touchdown pass. Should have had another, but a penalty flag brought that back. Yep. Polk looked very good. Defense, been what we've been seeing the last 4 or 5 weeks. Southeastern defense has looked very, very strong. And, of course, when you look at their kicking, Connor Dahlke, one of the best in the HCC. So a lot of good things rolling into sectional play for Southeastern as we conclude the 2012 regular season and begin the 2012 postseason.
Yep. Ought to be a lot of fun, and like I said, like Brian mentioned, probably looking at us together at Avon next Friday night against Decatur.
A lot of fun coming up here as we begin the second season of IHSAA football. Your final score tonight from McCutcheon High School: Avon is not playing tonight. Hamilton Southeastern gets the victory. They knock off McCutcheon by the score 56-13. Again, they finish with a record of 7-2. Alongside Doug Edens, my name's Brian Scott. We thank you for joining us here for Hamilton Southeastern football. Look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Until then, so long, everybody.